Welcome to Broad Ideas. I just wanted to say that as proper as possible.
Cool.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you. Nadine Crocker is on today.
Woo, woo.
Nadine is a phenomenal filmmaker, writer, director, actor, producer, everything. She is a longtime love of Olivia's.
Yeah.
A newer love of mine. I've gained such a special light in my life.
Tell us about that special light.
You will see and hear for yourself because we're welcoming Nadine.
Sometimes when the world feels insane, you can take a little peek inside of Rachel's little brain. All these thoughts are swirling round and round inside. So join us on this journey as we take a little ride. We'll talk about dogs and kids and things. We'll talk about chicks and tampon strings. We'll talk about boys that'll make you cry. We'll talk about death, 'cause people die.
Okay. All right. We're going to say hi.
Hi.
We're so happy. I'm going to let you introduce.
Nadine
Yeah.
Crocker, the fabulous, amazing, gifted, beautiful creature of love that you are. We're really happy to have you here.
I'm so excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's weird.
I know.
It's like surreal.
It is surreal. Well, we've been talking about for so long wanting to sit down and talk with you. I mean, for so many reasons. And obviously, on a personal level, we are friends and all of those things. But just, I don't know. There just feels like there's like so much love here. And the inspiration that I know I feel from you and the work you do and the human you are and everything. And it's just like coming together finally and being able to talk to you. It just feels like a blessing. I'm just gonna say it.
Thank you for saying that. I feel the same way. I feel like I'm a fangirl. I listen to all of your guys' episodes, just like smiling the entire time and couldn't wait to come and talk to you guys. So thanks for having me.
Yeah. And you and Olivia have known each other for a long time.
How long has it been now? Like 10?
Probably 10 years or more. Yeah.
Or more, maybe.
How old is Elliot?
Elliot
He's
is going to
almost
be 8.
Yeah, so probably like 10.
I think like 10. Because it was before I was even met Jeff or anything.
Oh,
Mhm.
wow.
Yeah.
Before Jeff.
We got introduced through our friend Bubba. He came to me one day and he was like, there's this girl Nadine. She's you. He's like, you need to meet her. He's like, she's like a mini you. And like, all I can say is you guys need to be in each other's lives.
Aww.
And that's exactly what happened. Right?
Yeah. It was like love at first sight.
It was.
But it was also, I mean, for me, or like a godsend. You know, I was getting sober and that person who introduced us was my Eskimo, I guess you call it there, who helps you get sober and, you know, introduced me to Olivia. I think it was like my first like healthy relationship with a woman who I saw you could be sober and kind and spiritual and all of these things and find like meaningful relationships. I hadn't had a lot of women in my life at that time. And what's funny is like then you've gone out of my life at different, like, you know, moving and different stuff. And every time you come back, it's like no time ever passed at all. And like those are the friendships, you know, like you never forget. It's like the ones where it doesn't matter how much time passes, like you know each other's soul,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's like those are the relationships that give you so much life, you know?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
They're hard to find.
I do think it's interesting how you came back in my life and it ties into the podcast.
It does.
Because Teresa Palmer and Sarah Olson came on the podcast and they were talking to us about manifestation. And you know, I'm obsessed with
That's our shit.
Yeah, literally our shit. And they were saying, dream big, like make it something big. And I sat with that for a moment and I'm like,
And Teresa was like, I wanted to do a movie with Brad Pitt. And then I got a script and it was like Brad Pitt and she got this. And we were just like, holy fuck, you can dream as big as Brad Pitt. We're going to dream big.
right? And then she showed us her phone. Like she had her little visualizations on her phone and everything. And we were just like, wait a minute. what are we doing? Like, what is the big thing we think is unattainable or that's too big to dream of? And then Sarah followed it up with, and when you get a gut instinct to act on it immediately, not to wait, not to let it pass, but that's the muse whispering to you. And when the muse whispers, if you don't act on it, it'll go ahead and whisper to someone else.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen her talk to you in like 8 years, 7 years, 7 years.
Oh, I hope it's not that. Oh yeah, you haven't met my son.
I was pregnant. The last time I saw you, and then I was driving one morning at 6 a.m. and I thought, and Rachel and I have talked so much about like writing things and creating projects and doing things, and I just got this gut instinct. Reach out to Nadine. And I wrote you at like 6 a.m. and was like, hey, this may be weird.
Yeah, but my favorite part is that you said that you pulled the car over to do it, which is like...
You pulled the car over?
I pulled the car over. On the way to drive Shepherd to school, I pulled the car over and was like, this might sound weird. I'm texting you at like 6 a.m, but I'm trying to do this thing where I follow my gut and I want to connect with you. I want to pick your brain about writing. And so you responded instantly and you were like, oh my God, yes. We met like the next day or something and talked for like...
I literally was like, I think I'm not free tomorrow, but I'm free the day after. Let's sit down.
And it was like that love that doesn't go anywhere.
It's soul connection.
Yeah.
It really
But
is.
I also am like a big... Like, and this is another thing too, is like, I'm a big person and she knows this on like pay it forward or things like that. So like, regardless of how much I love her, it was also the fact that someone was like, I'm following my gut. And I'm like, yes, I want to tell someone to do that. Right. And also I want to pick your brain because I have these dreams. And I'm like, yes, I want to tell someone to do that. It also helps that it's Olivia. And I'm like, and I'm also fucking obsessed with her. So yes, all around tomorrow or the next day, we're sitting down.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it changed the course of all three of our lives, you know, and we sat down, obviously, you know, we're working on things together, and Rachel's an executive producer of one of your films that's coming out that is absolutely, I'll let her take over.
Yeah. I mean, I know you can't say much about Continue because you're acting in it, but we can. And what I will
say is silly because I also produced it, put my life savings, ended up homeless for it. I wrote it. It's my true life story. So like, I should be able to scream from the mountaintops about that, but that's for another day.
You will. You will.
You'll come back and scream about it.
Absolutely. But when I watched that, I was so overcome by I was so blown away by everything you did. I mean, every little detail, acting, I was so blown away and inspired because, like I said before, like the inspiration that just exudes because of you, and it's unreal. And but not only that, it's so amazing to see a woman do that and do it that fucking amazingly well.
You see my eyes starting to water as she's talking.
Let's go. Let's cry.
It's so beautiful. And I'm like, if we have this example, fuck yes. And that's just the energy that comes with it is just fuck yes. And I was just like, okay, anything, anytime, anywhere, this fucking woman and everything she has done and does and will do, I just want to be in your presence. I want to be in the energy of it, whatever it is. And it's just, and that's so genuine.
Very. And very. She never feels
I was
that way.
She wouldn't say that. I know Rachel well enough to know she wouldn't say it if she didn't mean it.
Oh my God.
Which means, that's why it also means so much, because I love both of you guys so much. And there's always nerves when I share that film in particular because it's based on my life. And it really is a glimpse into the messiness that, lives inside of me in my 20s, and mistakes and regrets and pain and trauma and, all of the things. And it's the things we're normally taught to not show and let's not talk about. Right. So when I first went on that journey of being okay, I'm going to let the cat out of the bag, that these are struggles I have. And this is what I've been through. And you know, and to see it be accepted and like to hear you say those things, you know, means a lot because pretty much everyone told me that no one would like the movie, that no one wanted to talk about mental health, that, you know, it's a taboo subject, that people wouldn't like my ending, like, which, you know, I can't say much about till the movie comes out, but, you know, I had to fight really hard. And I do feel like since the pandemic and like since I just feel like people are more open about depression and suicidal ideation and just like struggles and, you know, but I'm really proud. Like, you know, sometimes where you know those moments where you're like, God, who was that girl? She was really brave. Like, I don't feel like that girl. Like, you know, it's like that. I think that all the time. Like when I talk about like dropping out of high school and moving here when I was 16, I'm like, God, that girl was fearless. I'm like, you know, so was the girl who put her entire life savings. And then like, you know, like you forget that girl's in there, you know?
Right.
Because then when you're doing it, I mean, we talk about this a lot. When you're doing it, like, it's terrifying. You don't feel like brave. You feel like courageous, you know? Like we always talk about courage is more important than confidence or all of those other things, you know? And it's just kind of having the courage and putting one foot in front of the other.
Right.
And to hear like you resonated with it and, you know, you've resonated with it and other people who have seen it. And, you know, my whole mission was to save lives from suicide. And every time I hear someone say that they think that I might be able to do that, you know, it just feels like, you know, I get emotional just thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's always been the mission. So.
Right. But yeah, I mean,
I hope so.
That's why we leaped into it to get behind, because that's why we're doing this podcast, is like, it's for people to feel a little bit less alone and to take some of the things that may be kept inside and bring them to the light and be like, look, it doesn't matter where you're at in your career. It doesn't matter where you're at in life. Like these things are being felt all over the place. Right. And depression's real. Anxiety's real. All mental health issues need to be addressed and they need to be talked about. And you have one of the most courageous, generous spirits I've ever come across.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like
I point to her because she's like, yep.
Yeah, it's true. And it's also, you know, speaking to what you're saying is like the safe space that we want to create. And it's like what you've created with your film to be able to be so open and show all, right? Like it's really like the most vulnerable to show yourself in that way, or, you know, but to make it not taboo or not, just there's so many people out there that can resonate with it. And I kind of like find myself saying like, it's not easy and people sometimes, but like it should be.
Right.
It should be.
Let's make it
make it easy, because that's exactly what people need, I think, when you're struggling or going through things.
That's exactly why I made the movie the way I did. And just like everything about it is because when you're in it, there's nothing more isolating. You feel completely alone. Like something's wrong with you. Like I think I still feel that feeling of like thinking I'm a freak or a burden. Like the burden messaging in my mind comes in real heavy all the time, you know, like when you're having a bad day.
From?
I'm all shit. Will my parents be listening to this? I think it's ingrained from our childhood. Right. I do. Right. And I think if we're told our emotions are too much, like, God, she's so dramatic. God, that's Nadine. She is our little actress. And that's what it's like, I just think it gets ingrained in us that like, you know, and that crazy thing. And like, you know, I listened to all your guys' episodes and I love your podcast. And, you know, Christina Ricci and you guys had a great conversation about like the crazy thing and like, you know, just like how frivolously that's thrown around and different things. And so it becomes such a feared like thing of looking that way or being that way, or for me, like difficult, you know, female directors, like if you are outspoken or very like determined, specific. I mean, all of the things that I am. I have OCD. Like what makes me, my husband and I actually talk about this a lot, is like what makes me such a good creator is what makes living everyday life and my body hard. Like I obsess, I get consumed, I channel. Like, I believe I'm channeling with God when I write, but like at the same time, being with a person who channels and gets involved and writes a script, my latest script, 4 days, 27 pages a day.
Holy shit.
That tells you it's bananas, but it also tells you what kind of like disappearance, like, bye, love you, like, you know,
You're
almost like
yeah.
I kind of sometimes call it like a form of mania. You know, I'm sure that there are flavors of that, but
sure.
So, you know, it's, you know, going back to all of that, I do think that we're told at a young age that those things, like, you know, maybe they're what make us creative or really great. You know, I'm a very different being than my sister is. My sister's very intellectual, straight A's, like all of those things. I was not, but I could do creative and all of these different things. But it's like, maybe that wasn't valued as much, or maybe that was looked at as dramatic, or maybe as a lot. I don't know, you know, but either way, it gets ingrained in us, that burden mentality. Or if I'm having an emotional day, I feel like I have to isolate and like kick rocks so that you don't put it on other, you know, it's like.
Do you find yourself still doing that like now?
Yeah, I think I'll probably always kind of have flavors of that, except for I have now like friends like you guys who like, like you wouldn't let me, you know, you'd be like, no, let's talk about it.
Right.
A husband who's like, you know, so supportive, but also so attuned to like my emotions. It's hard. I guess I've never been with someone who actually like paid attention to my emotions.
Yeah.
So
Clearly.
I can't really hide it in the same way, you know, like I just went home. It's always like that fine line of like, are you going to tell this story? But okay, I think I'm going to. But I went home for my dad's 70th birthday this weekend. And returning home for me is not what it is for most people. And like, my husband's like, how are you? And I'm like, I'm good. You know, and he's like, yeah, I think you've said maybe like 4 words an entire weekend. So how are you? Like, you disappear inside, you know, and it's just because like when I don't know how to process, or I don't know how to, it's like I go up here and then I'm there and I stay there, you know?
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely still a form of it. We have like our ways of coping that we're used to. Mine is to go inward.
Right. And you have a partner though that, like you said, is so
spots it.
Yeah. Which I mean,
so where you're like, oh shit, okay, I guess let's talk about it.
Right.
I'm feeling this, you know?
And then it forces, you're like, oh.
Yeah. You want to know?
Yeah,
I know. Do we really have to talk about this?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same shit I feel every time I go home. You know, it's like same shit, different day. You kind of feel like a broken record at times, but at the same time, it's nice to talk about it, you know?
Yeah. I think once you finally can or do, it releases something, you know? And I mean, I go through that stuff all the time, even when it's like something really small, like, am I inconveniencing someone?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't want to text you because am I bothering you?
I'm constantly convinced I'm bugging people.
Right.
Like, I won't even text you or like anything. And she's like, what do you mean you couldn't bug me? And I'm like, yeah, but like, you know.
Yeah, it's our own
It's 12 o'clock on a Tuesday. Like, I can't bother you.
Right.
You're
I'll
like,
get back
but
to you
why?
when I can.
Yeah.
Like, it's never going to be like,
I know.
Yeah. And it's so always. And it's just like that inner dialogue you have with yourself. And it's like, so, I don't know what the word is. Like, if it's like insecure or, you know, talking down to or whatever, like this person doesn't want to hear from me or I'm doing, you know, and it's just like this insecurity. And I think it does probably, I mean, it must stem from childhood and whatever, you know, formulated that. And I'm trying to think, I'm like, what was it for me? Like, my brother like teased me all the time, but like, I don't know, you know, but I think that we really,
I think it's just I really do think it's just the mind protecting us from pain, from
like
rejection.
fear of rejection.
Yeah. So like whenever you first felt the feeling of rejection as a kid, your coping mechanisms kicked in and we're like, we're going to make sure you don't feel this again. So anytime you get a glimmer of that, they come in to do their job.
Well, you also think that like, you know, you're a good girl if you smile and you're this and oh, she's like, good. You know, so I think like whether you know it or not, it's ingrained that like, oh, people like me when I'm the happy and like outgoing and like the this and the that, which inevitably means that people don't like me when I'm the other version.
Like, you're such a light. You're so inspiring.
Yeah.
So you kind of feel like, I've got to be that.
I have to be
And if
that
I'm
all
not
the
that,
time.
then like, oh my God, and it's like, so I feel like I have to, I'm an empath, and I love people. And so then I feel like if I'm not giving that to each person, or I'm having a bad day, it's like, okay, well, I have to do that, and I have to be that. And then all of a sudden you're like, God, why am I fucking depleted? And it's like, so getting older and like getting attuned to these things in ourselves means like we constantly have to like listen to ourselves and work on these things and talk when we maybe are feeling like shutting down, or, not go if we don't feel like goddamn going.
Right?
Like I've started doing that for myself more.
She's good at that.
I want like that energy.
She does not go. She's like, nope, not going.
Not doing
it. See,
Yeah,
I
but
need that
learned
energy.
that. Yeah. Broad Ideas is supported by Talkspace. Do you think seeing a therapist or psychiatrist would be helpful, but you don't have the time to actually find one and meet with them or afford them? Try Talkspace. By doing everything online, Talkspace has made getting the help you want easy, accessible, and affordable. When you've met your therapy goals or simply want to cancel, Talkspace has a simple cancellation process and will work with you to get a prorated refund or unused time if applicable. It's incredibly convenient to have virtual sessions with your licensed therapist from the comfort of your home. Who doesn't love that? Therapy can help you shift your perspective, find tools to cope in difficult times, and be a guiding light. As a listener of this podcast, you'll get $80 off your first month with Talkspace when you go to Talkspace.com/ideas. To match with a licensed therapist today, go to Talkspace.com/ideas to get $80 off your first month and show your support for the show. That's Talkspace.com/ideas. Broad Ideas is supported by Blissy. Who knew that a better pillowcase is all you need for better sleep? Let's talk about staying cool throughout the night and waking up with hydrated skin and hair. Sleep better this summer with Blissy's award-winning 100% mulberry silk pillowcases. Blissy silk pillowcases are temperature regulating and have naturally insulating properties, so if you sweat and overheat while you sleep, Blissy is for you. It stays cool throughout the night so that you're not constantly waking up sweating around your neck or flipping the pillow to find the cooler side. On top of that, it is also so good for hair because it reduces frizz, tangles, and prevents hair breakage. It keeps the moisture in your hair and keeps your skincare products and natural moisture on your skin because silk does not absorb the moisture off your face. You can say goodbye to wrinkles, dry, flaky, and red skin in the morning and wake up with healthier hair. Blissy silk pillowcases are the best silk pillowcases on the market. They have a ton of different prints and colors, and they make great gifts because there's an option for literally anyone. Men love them too. They have over 1.5 million raving fans, and you could be next. Try now risk-free for 60 nights at blissy.com/Rachel and get an additional 30% off. That's BLISSY.com/Rachel and use code Rachel to get an additional 30% off. Sleep cooler this summer with Blissy. Yeah, for sure. And I think, for a long time, there's certain situations and you go through things, and I know I have gone through things that like shut me down where I wouldn't be able to talk about anything, and I would just go inside and not deal. But like as I've gotten older, and you have to train yourself to deal with it and like talk about it, but still stay home when you want to.
Yeah. Well, it's also like, I know we're all mothers here, so it's also very different when you're realizing I want to show him like that it's okay to have days, and it's okay to like be that way, and like it's okay to have big feelings or whatever it is, and to talk about your feelings and or just period. I want to be better. And I come from a long life of trauma. Like I have been through some shit. I have packed in so much life in my 34 years on this planet. And most things you could like name, I've probably been through. And like the truth is I think that was exactly my plan, because it formed, like as a soul, it formed who I am. And it made me really, I can relate to a lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds and a lot of different pain and different things. And, and it made me a better filmmaker. I think it makes me be able to relate. Yeah, I do look at my trauma as a gift now.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't want to repeat it at all.
No,
my son's life.
No.
So like, that's where it comes back to the motherhood thing of like, okay, I've been through these things and I have these emotions and I have this stuff. And also, how do I be the best version of myself for my child and for my spouse and for myself, and how do I keep growing? And it's just like a never ending battle, because the second you feel like you've like gotten through something, like life brings shit up, and it's just like constantly.
Yeah. You're like, universe,
learning.
Like, why? You.
Yeah.
I know. Well, Olivia's like literally my coach. So like, it so many of the things, like something that you've really ingrained in me that I like constantly ask myself is like, how is this working for you? Even when in the moment it doesn't feel like it's working for you at fucking all. Yeah. And then I can be like, oh, it's working for you because you just learned this. And it's working for you because it just reminded you that you still have the strength to do that. It's working for you because it made you have this really serious conversation with that person. It's like, so I'm looking at things from a different way than what my family does, which is like, as a family of victims, like everything is done to us. The world is an ugly place. People are ugly. None of the shit I want any part of. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, okay, what's my part also?
And that takes undoing. That takes rewiring on such a level. Like it's a constant 24-hour a day rewiring. But one of the questions I have, because Rachel and I watched both of your films back to back and then sent them to Rachel. She watched them back to back, right? And I didn't say what I thought because I wanted to hear what she said first, And the most beautiful thing is we had the same exact reaction. We both said, this is what makes me want to do this. Like make films or have art and tell stories. Like your work woke up the same thing in both of us of like, this is why this matters. Because there's plenty of content out there, but to watch what you did with Desperation Road and every single shot.
Unbelievable. Like for me, and I've been doing what I do for a long time, and I'll be like, okay, it's a job and yeah, it's fun and I do this. But then like watching your work, I was like, oh, like, no, I want to do that. Like that's the thing, and I'm like so blown away. And it woke something up in me because I totally can be very, I don't know what the word is, but just, coasting along, so to speak. And it was just like the creative side of just seeing what you did. And so amazing. Like, I know I keep using the same words because it's like, but the directing, obviously with Continue and then Desperation Road right after, and just watching, being able to watch them together was so fucking cool. And every like shot, like in your shooting this scene in Desperation Road, like there was many, and like in the car, but you're from behind, and like they're in the truck and they're having a conversation, and then on the porch with with Garrett Hedlund's character and the old fiance, and like just how everything's shot. I was just like, oh my God. Yeah. Like unreal, and you had the actors you had, like I said, Garrett Hedlund and Mel Gibson. Fucking, you like directed Mel Gibson? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, holy shit, Nadine. Like, hold on. I could not like, and the lead actress in it,
Willa Fitzgerald.
Yeah. I was just like, I'm just going to talk about the movie for a second. Like, in the beginning of the movie, when she's at the motel with her daughter, okay, like I'm a mom, and I'm watching this and she gets taken away, and like the daughter is in the motel, and all I can think is like, she's going to wake up and her mom's gone.
She'll make me cry.
I'm crying. Like when I saw that, I was like, I don't know if I can watch this. Like I was so emotionally like,
I think you text me, I don't know if I can watch it.
I did. I was like, I don't think I can go on. Like that little girl's going to wake up and her mom's like, I was losing my mind and everything the character goes through. And I'm not going to give anything away because everybody needs to fucking watch this.
Yeah.
Blown away just from the get-go. And the fact that you fucking did that is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it woke up in us what's true in our soul as far as storytelling goes and what matters. And, you know, my question to you, though, is do you believe, and this is where it gets tricky for me, and I have a hard time with it because, you know, we've all three of us have been through a lot of life, right? And we've had a lot of pain and trauma.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do think that sometimes does go hand in hand with creativity, but how much of your creativity and your vision and your storytelling is attached to that? Do you ever feel like you have to keep that pain alive in order to tell these stories? Or do you feel like, what would happen when you heal? Are you able to still tap into that?
It's a very, very profound question, actually, and one that I don't know that I've given like deep thoughts. Like so there's this line in Continue where I say like, I used to think that I had to like stay in these deep, dark places to create my art, you know? And so I used to think like my depression and my pain and all of that is like what I needed to create from. But I think that it's cellular, right? So those things we go through, like, you know, I don't know, I guess this is just coming to me in this moment. It's like the body keeps score, right? Like it's in there. Like we know that and we can tap into it anytime we want, but we don't need to stay in hell in order to be able to like tell stories with that. I think it'll always, those experiences that I've been through will always guide me a little bit through those, you know, like, because when I'm sitting there and I'm directing people, it's not really my pain or the trauma. It's more like the human condition and the humanity of it all. And like, you know, and it's the backstory. And it's like, I'm not a method actor. So like, even with Continue, I prepped it as if it was not mine. Like it, because it isn't. It is a dramatized version. There's differences. Like my parents aren't dead. My grandfather's who took his life, not my father, but for the story, because of my dad and my relationship of talking about suicide and how it affected, I wanted to be able to like almost say his words, right? So like I prep it like it's not my own at all, you know? So it probably is guiding me somewhat because like that is in us, like, right? You're like, your trauma will always somewhat guide what you've been through. Exactly. And like, it's just, but like this reason this comes up for me is you recently read my new script, Love Me to Oblivion, the one I just wrote in 4 days.
I just got the chills.
No, it's disgusting. I was on the airplane, like crying embarrassingly on the plane. I didn't want it to end. I text Nadine. I was like, that felt like a pack of cigarettes and like bottles of wine. Like I just wanted to like ingest.
So I put that line, by the way, on my lookbook. I wrote a bottle of wine and a pack of cigarettes to the senses.
That's what it is.
Yeah, a ride that will leave you wrecked. And because like that's, but, and so from that, the only reason I bring that up, for instance, is like, I have totally healed from, I went through a situation of domestic abuse. And I was in a very abusive relationship. And so I wrote this story. It came to me through a dream. And when I woke up from the dream, I realized it was a movie. And it was actually about my past. It was like 4 a.m, woke up, had a weird dream. Jeremy Allen White was in it. I had this dream. It was me and him and it happened. And I was like, oh, that's a movie. Oh, it's about my past. Okay. Sat down that day at 4, outlined it in an hour and a half, started writing. 4 days later, had a finished script.
Wow.
And so again, I say that because it's like I'm healed from that domestic, but it was sure easy to tap into and completely go back to those moments. But the thing is it didn't feel like I was reliving them at all. Like it didn't make me feel, I didn't feel hurt or damaged. It was actually almost like eye-opening because through writing, I realized, like, so their names are Blue and Natalie. I realized I am Blue and I am Natalie. And they're both based on me. They're not based on the person who abused me, because the person who abused me is unredeemable. I needed the guy to be likable, right? For this to be a movie you want to go on the journey whatsoever. It's basically about how like love can be toxic, but it doesn't make the people bad.
That's right. And it's so...
Well, some people, no. There is toxic love where that person should just be beat up.
You find yourself rooting for him.
But do you know what I mean? That speaks to the fucking writing. Like, that's good writing. Like,
that's
if you can write
because
a character
it's flawed
like that,
individuals, and we're all flawed individuals.
How do you think you healed it? Like, what steps or what kind of led to that?
Time.
Yeah.
Time does heal a lot of wounds.
For sure.
I mean, massive amounts of therapy, coaching, sobriety. I'm 8 years sober on October 4th.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. So truthfully, most of my memories that were led me to oblivion were while I was drinking, so that eliminated a lot of the uncontrollable emotions instantly, because now, like, I used to call myself a chemist. How many drinks till I'm just the fun girl that they all want to hang out with? Because I am a blast. Most people wouldn't know that this is something I battle, right? Unless you're my closest people and then you were with me. And then how many drinks until it's unleashed?
Right.
And then I can't reel it back in, until you wake up the next day or whatever. So because that depression, those thoughts of self-worth and loathing and all of that, like, could come out, so sobriety changed a lot of that for me. But I also just think wanting to break the cycles, becoming a mother too, like, later helped me, because I come from a family of trauma and abuse, and saw mental and some physical abuse, and grew up in like an environment so that's what's like in the script. I had like why I say I'm blue in both, because an ex said to me, the fucked up thing is that you think this is normal. You think screaming at each other like this is completely normal. And I was like, probably in the moment, like, fuck you, no, I don't. But then later I'm like, wow, I actually do.
Right.
I totally do.
Yeah.
My parents scream and fight. My dad would throw things, like, I'd come out as a kid and things would be ripped apart. And, I've seen, atrocious shit. So I totally did think it was normal.
It speaks to people who grow up in a household like that is the norm, right? And so if they get into something else and they're doing this shit and the person is like, this is abuse. This is abusive. Like, no, that's offensive to people who are actually abused. Like, you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, 100%.
But you're like, wait, no. Like, this is totally warped because of how you grew up.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
We're all brainwashed as children.
Yeah.
So we don't know what's normal. We just know what is. We just know our environment.
We
and
know
then
our
look
normal,
to repeat
which is
it.
what we were exposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it carries.
And then once you have a tiny person, you're like, oh, that's not ever going to be fucking normal.
No, that
is never going to be normal.
You're never going to see.
Even like we have this running joke, in our family, it's like about the Crockers, the Crocker name period. It's like, oh, you're a Crocker. And there's a lot of weight to that. And the Crocker women, and they're crazy, and they have the same rage as their fathers. And like, and our fathers only have that rage because my grandfather beat the living fuck out of them and was an alcoholic and was terribly abusive. So let's call it what it really is. It's not Crocker rage. It's ancestral trauma being passed down from generation to generation. My dad is sober, but he has every ism of an alcoholic because that's what he grew up in. It's not even his fault. Like, none of it that I am talking about I believe is, it was taught to him, right? But I'm sitting there at Crocker Christmas, and all the Crocker ladies are going back and forth telling stories of like them doing crazy shit. I'm just sitting there listening, and I'm like, in my head, like, and I don't want them to ever think like I'm sitting there thinking like I'm better than you,
right?
But I'm sitting there thinking like, essentially, thank God I get a lot of therapy and I won't repeat that. I will not repeat that. I will not.
Yeah.
This is where that cycle ends. it ends with me. Because I will not repeat that ancestral trauma, and I am not taking that to my son, and I will not teach him that it is okay to do that.
You change, like there's certain little details in the film. And like I said, I don't want to give anything away, but like the crayons that she takes for her, like, fuck, you know, and we can cut that out.
No, you can say it. Please say the crayons. Because people will have no idea what you're talking about until you watch it. But the crayons, that was...
I was like, oh my, I keep getting fucking chills talking about it. But it's like those.
And what most people won't know too is like, before I cut it from the movie, but the scene she gets the crayons. So you see the crayons. She makes it this important thing, right? Mm-hmm. But she got them from a free packet at a diner. And what I was trying to show there is something that means nothing to you or I means everything to a little girl who has nothing. Exactly. So those crayons are everything to her. And so they were everywhere. And I wanted them always in her hand. And I wanted them to be everything because that is all she has. Right. And so again, there's a lot of men, there's a lot of people who were like, cut the crayons from the fucking movie. We don't need it. Like, we don't need it.
Are you fucking kidding me?
See? And I knew every mother out there.
Oh my God.
And I don't want to be like sexist, like some men won't understand it. But what I will tell you right now is there's definitely several men that were like, in a moment when you're escaping a shelter, you're going to worry about crayons. And I'm like, hell motherfucking
because you know what? That fucking child comes before every fucking thing else.
I will literally, because every one of us, I can tell you right now, would scrape the skin from our fucking bodies to give them what, like, in a second. So I made sure twice before they got to that room, she said, my crayons, mommy, so that when she sees them and her face sees them, you all know that feeling. Fuck.
Yeah.
I have to do this.
Yeah.
And that is that I have chills as I say it. It meant everything to me. And her being able to give him to it. She can't give her a lot of things, but if it's in her power, she's going to. And like, you know, there was even a moment where the actress, Willow, was like, God damn, it feels like I'm carrying this little girl around too much. Doesn't it feel like I carry her a lot? And I was like, well, let me just tell you something. I have no mom. No. Let me just explain something to you. You've never had arm strength in your entire life until you've had a child.
That's right.
And all they want is you to carry them. If they feel lost, if they feel hurt, if they get a boo-boo, if they get tired, if they're anything, you're mommy's arms. If they're awake, if they're breathing, they're in your arms. They want you. They're, you know, but on top of that, you know, there was one scene in particular. She's like, I just ran from the shelter with her in my arms. And that was something like in the book and in the script, she ran and the little girl was trailing behind by herself.
No.
You guys?
Yeah,
exactly.
We're all the same kind of mom.
I was like,
exactly. No.
Why? Because I hate her for doing that. She should be in her fucking arms. She should be making sure she's safe before she's ever safe. She should be distracting and letting her run ahead.
If she
does
tired,
not leave
put her on your back.
Doesn't matter. That little girl up. You do not leave her behind you. Look at us all getting fiercely upset. We'll fucking kill someone, right? So I was like, no, right? So I rewrote. I worked very closely on this script because there was a lot of things that are really important to me. And for me also too, because I don't want to forget to say this and like bring me back to it later, is that no character should be unlikable. Every person is lovable to somebody, even if they're flawed, right?
Agreed.
So it is a waste of a fucking character if I don't care about your character. It's just lazy.
Yeah.
Because you can make an audience care about any person. Look at Larry in this film.
I was going to say, like, fucking
I love Larry.
Yeah.
Larry's one of my favorite characters. That's also because Ryan Hurst is an unbelievably talented actor.
Oh my God, that's who that is.
Yeah.
He is one of my favorite artists. And honestly, he slayed it. And he was so I turned him into a mental health character. He was originally just a villain to be a villain.
Right.
A bad guy. And I was like, no, he's struggling. And like, we'll come back to that and his story and his backstory and how I try and bring mental health into that. But what I wanted to finish with is she was like, in that scene when she has the gun which I feel like I can say this because it's in the trailer.
Is it in the trailer?
Fucking trailer.
Okay. All right.
Where a gun's up to Garrett's head and the mom has the little girl and they go around the car. It's in the trailer. So I feel like
as long as it's in the trailer. I don't want to ruin it.
Lionsgate put all the action in the trailer. So like, I think I'm okay. And she was like, I just carried her though. And I was like, let me tell you something. All right. Here's your two options. There's a man that you don't know in that driver's seat of that car, and your child is here. You can go behind and he can reverse and kill you. Or you can go in front and he can drive forward and kill you. But if he's going to do that, you're going to make sure that your body is first and you can throw her or you can protect her. Secondly, make him look her in the eyes if he's going to do that and remind him what he's doing. You hold that fucking gun to him, like let him know you're going to kill him if he hurts you. You're both dead here. But also make him look her in the eyes as he makes that decision, you know? And she was like, oh, and I'm like, yes. Because as a mother, there's about 900 things that go through my head. When I see even a person walking down the street, I don't care if you're a threat or not. I'm like, who are you? What is going on? Where's your hands? What are you doing? What's on you? You know, you're like, are you a danger? Do I have to like fuck you up? No? Okay, keep going. Right. You know, it's like, so let me explain something to you. You don't have a kid yet. You would fucking carry that kid and you would not let them go beside you. Hell no.
No.
Because first up, straight up in my mind, I'm like, because if he goes forward, I'm going to throw you as far as I possibly can so you're safe and I go. You know, whatever it is. It's like,
it doesn't matter. Your mentality
is self-sacrifice. Every mother is listening like, yep. You know, we'd get the crayons. We would totally carry you everywhere. Like you know, and that's what I wanted. That's what this story was to me what enticed me and why I was willing to do so much work on the script is because the number one thing that really interested me is what if you have this child and you have absolutely no means and no support and no one in your life to help you, but all you want to do is love them and protect them. I remember the feeling so well, like it's going to make me emotional. I was 27 years old and me and my husband were both servers and bartenders, and we live in a 1-bedroom apartment and we do not have money and we have no idea what we're doing. And we were surprise pregnant. We found out 2 months before our wedding. We were 2.5 months pregnant. And we had no idea what we were going to do. And it was just like, I'll sell everything I have. And like, there goes my 68 Chevelle. There goes my Range Rover. There goes anything I had of value. There goes expensive shoes. Let me refinish them. I did whatever it took to have any kind of savings, right? So I could remember that feeling. And I'm like, imagine. So there was this line in the movie, which to me is my through line. Not everybody has somebody. What if you had nobody? Like, what would you do? And life just keeps beating you down, right? And what if one act of kindness could change your life? Okay, well, that's what I want to tell people, you know? And on that, also, Russell, the self-loathing and the guilt, what if we aren't our biggest mistake or failure, but we're actually our biggest act of kindness? What if that's what we could be remembered for rather than the mistake we made and he went to prison for and all of those different things, you know? So it's just like, for me, it's always, what can I say?
Yeah.
What am I doing this for? And who can I help or who can I inspire or who can I let feel seen because of this film?
Yeah.
And if there is answers there, then I move forward and then I go, you know, and it's like, sometimes it's painful because like, fuck, I'd like to pay my bills. But at the same time, if I don't feel it within every inch of my being, I can't do it. You know, I think that it's like, I have to find a story that does, you know?
Yeah.
One of the things I pride myself, like I believe that God had me survive that suicide attempt, because I want to use every last breath I have on this planet saying something, right? And actually doing something with this second chance I have.
Yeah.
So what am I saying or what am I doing, you know?
I'm
the thought of like when you say, like, we've talked about that so much about your attempted suicide, but hearing you say it right now in a different context in this way and thinking, like,
you fucker.
But just like, what if that had gone a different way?
Yeah. Yeah. I think about it all the time. I mean, I'm a mom now and a wife and a friend and all of these things, like, I would have never been. Right? That's the whole message of continue is, God, you have no, I'm speaking to you. If you are feeling pain and you're out there, because now my friends made me cry and I'm going to be real. Your life matters. I know it feels dark and I know it feels like no one cares, but people do. And I'm sitting in a room with two people whose lives would have been different had I never been in it. And like, you know, and we don't know that. We don't know how many lives our lives will touch. You know, you don't know where your life is going. And the only way you will know is if you give it one more day. My skin is crawling off my body. But yeah, I know I've had a lot of those moments, you know, lately, like my, my mentor is Robbie Brenner, and she's like someone I manifested into my life. And she's like a bright beacon, you know, and she just said, sometimes I sit and think about a world where you're not here right now. And I can't even believe that was almost like an existence. And I like started crying. I was like, I can't either, you know?
Yeah.
So thank God for unanswered prayers, huh?
Oh my God. You know, and you sit here and it's like, oh, I feel so heavy. But like, it's actually kind of like beautiful too, to sit here and talk about it and be able to reflect on it. And I think it makes everyone think, like, maybe if they haven't been in that exact situation, but like choices or paths or things,
right,
you know, in your life that have transpired, and kind of like looking back and like reflecting on it all and just being like, oh, like I wouldn't be here, or this wouldn't have happened, or fucking manifesting shit, which is just happening left and right, like with all of us, which is just so insane. And you're just looking at life and you're like, I always think about like, if there was a movie, and I know that I'm sure they've done it, but like, if you would have went this way or that way, or I mean, there's
like sliding doors.
Well, sliding doors was like one of the inspirations for my film. And that's kind of how my film and the different twists and turns I take is. But yeah, it's like multiverse theory of
right.
That's
there's so many different ways it could have been.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why when people ask me, like, I don't really give my answer about Continue's ending, and I won't say too much more about the ending.
Just
but
keep your mouth shut.
I know. But what I'll say is like, it all exists.
Well, that's the thing too. I was just reading the book by Joe Dispenza, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. And he talks a lot about, you know, the science of how what is it? My brain is shot now because of the crying. Like the observer theory, right?
Oh.
That energy or matter or whatever changes based on the observer. And it's made up of 99.9% nothing. But our observation of it is what makes it actual particles. But without the observation, it's nothing. And so if we were to put all of our energy and attention into things having gone a different way versus you taking your attention, your focused attention, and shifting your experience, it's like basically creating an alternate universe. Mm-hmm. And that the only difference is the energy of the shift that you gave that. Like it could have in a split second gone a different way. Mm-hmm. But for whatever reason, and what do you attribute that to? Is it a miracle? Do you have a spiritual connection? Was it a voice that came in? Like, and I've wondered this for myself too, like being sober, like I've wondered, like, how did I get so lucky? Because there's so many people that can't get it, you know? And I've wondered, like, what was it? Was it divine inspiration? What was it for you that saved your life?
So I'm going to be super real with you. And I don't think I've ever actually answered this to like anyone, like in the sense of, but I absolutely believe I was chosen. I believe that all of these collaborations, being able to write a script in 4 days, being able to do they're all collaboration with God. So I believe that I am chosen to do that, right? Because there's no way when I look, that quote I love by Steve Jobs, you can't connect the dots looking forward, only looking back, right? So I look at every single thing that has ever happened to me, even the pain. And it always led me to where I was going, into the beauty, right? I would not, you can break it down. You know, it's hard because I don't tell some of the stuff of my past, but something really bad had to happen to me in order to have money for continue to come about. I didn't want that money, so I put it all into healing and helping people, right?
Yeah.
And when you go into that, having suicidal depression, well, if I didn't have suicidal depression, I wouldn't have had something so important to talk about, and I wouldn't have made continue. And then I would have never realized that I was actually meant to be a director. And then I would have never blank, 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 right? So all of these different things and where it led me, getting dropped by all of my reps while I was on maternity leave.
Fucking
2-week-old baby in my arm as I got the email letting me know that my reps of a long time were all dropping me. And mind you, had I not cried hysterically and felt like my entire life was over, and, you know, I just got my baby to sleep and I'm muffling my sobs as I'm wailing because my entire team just dropped me, right? And I get him down and I'm crying on my kitchen floor and I'm saying to my husband, and we talk about this night all the time, I just have so much inside of me and I'm scared I'm never going to get to show it. Like, I'm scared no one will ever know who I really am.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and that made me go and make continue and do it the way I did, and stop waiting for people's fucking permission, and stop waiting for the opportunity, and to make the opportunity, and to not fucking stop, and So when I look at it, every single thing has purpose, even pain.
Yes.
My worst pain has influenced my biggest moments of gratitude and beauty. So now I can understand it in a completely different way. There's also a story that I feel like I'm going to tell now because I've never actually said this to anyone. And I don't think you even know this story. But when I was at my worst, I had just attempted suicide, and I was with an ex and we were fighting, and it was drunk and in Yosemite and with friends and off fighting and da-da-da-da. And so we had just made up from the fight. We were out in the middle of a field, no one else around, and he was laying down and I was laying on his chest, and like on him like this, and we were staring at the stars. And, you know, he was just telling me like he was scared I wasn't going to make it. And, you know, I had to basically get it together. You know, he was worried that the depression and, you know, the suicidal attempts and stuff were going to happen. And so I screamed out, and I was like, God, aliens, whoever the fuck is up there, if my life has any purpose, give me a sign right now. I'll never say this again, but give me a sign and I'll never attempt to take my life again. I will never question it. This one time, whoosh, like a ball of light came and was gone within the same exact moment. And mind you, this is the ex who was so hardcore atheist, who the reason I finally tried to take my own life is he had convinced me that God wasn't real, and how science is, and how like anyone who believes in like God and all of these things is an idiot, basically, and showed me all these documentaries and just all of this stuff. So you take my spirituality away. When I'm at my lowest low, you are basically saying, bye.
Die.
Like, what is the fucking point of being if this is really it? And this is, why am I here then? Like, bye. And the entire sky, like it was like a ball of light, and it was there just as quickly as it went. And we both jumped up, and I accused him of doing it with a flashlight. And he was like, how the fuck would I have done that with a flashlight? And he couldn't explain it either. And it was the most surreal, crazy moment. And I've tried again, of course. Like, you were sure? Right. Because like the one time wasn't enough. I'd love second proof, you know? But
and you were
never
also like, see that motherfucker?
Yeah, like something, it's real.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. And then like, this is just a weird synchronicity, but we love synchronicities, right? All of us love them.
Yeah.
And then we're driving home and our GPS isn't working, trying to get home from Yosemite. And he pulls over because I have to go to the bathroom. And I get out of the car and I like look up, like just stand out of the car and I look over and it's a huge sign that says Nadine's Farm. I mean, huge cursive, Nadine's Farm. And it was like a massive wooden vintage cool sign. And I just said,
and nobody has a name Nadine.
I've
No,
never met another name Nadine in my whole life, other than my great aunt Nadine, who I was named after. I have never met another Nadine.
That's
so like, what is
yeah,
that? You know?
That's
So-
shit. I know.
So as much as I tried to be like, no, that was like, you know, I still think back about that. And I'm like,
Yeah. Those little
maybe you really are supposed to be here. Maybe even,
Maybe
you
you
know,
are.
like
yeah.
maybe there really is something. And, you know, and each time I tell a story or I take a step into this life I'm now living, I understand
Yeah.
that I am here for a reason
Right.
and that I am here to tell stories and I am here to help others, you know? And like one of the things I pride myself on is all of my films have a charity aspect, you know? One of the things that was important to all of us on Continue is that part of the percentage goes to charity for suicide prevention and mental health. I now have the Continue On organization, which has officially been formed, which is a nonprofit to coincide with the film. And, you know, my next script, Dear Son, which is, you know, I wrote specifically for a person in mind who is currently reading it.
Yeah, she is.
So, and that's a dream. I mean, a dream. And we don't know what will happen with it. But just that I manifested. I was like,
Fuck
if ever there was a person I want to play me, that's her. And she's reading it. And like, I'm like,
I'm
come
reading
on.
it. I'm reading it.
Yes,
guys.
yeah,
Calm
exactly. So, but that I'm donating a portion of the proceeds to Alzheimer's, mental health and suicide prevention, Love Me to Oblivion. A portion will go to domestic abuse survivors. And, you know, so everything I do, I want to change the world in whatever way we can, you know?
You change my world on a daily basis. And the biggest thing I can say about you is strength of heart. You have the most generous spirit, but also you have impeccable integrity. Like, and that to me is what I respect the most in this life. You do not waver. Even you do it in such a loving way too. You're like, no, I'm not going to waver on this. And here's why. And then you share from your heart. And it's like, oh, you're affecting other people with your truth. That's what you're doing. You're a truth teller. And like the simple fact of the matter is we're all better off having you on our side. It's true.
Thanks for saying that.
You're welcome.
It's like she has a mission to make me cry as many times as possible. Like both of you, every time you guys start complimenting me. I mean, I think compliments are hard for most women, period, because it's like, you know, and that's something like I wish we could all see each other how our closest friends see each other. You know, like my biggest gift would be for you guys to see you how I see you. You know, I think you are the brightest shining stars and the most giving and loving. And, you know, that's why I love your guys' podcast as well, too. And just like listening to so many of the episodes. I mean, I mentioned this to you too. And I was like, wait, I shouldn't talk about this ahead of that podcast. But one of the things that was so fascinating and it's so like life-giving as a woman is all the episodes I constantly listen to. I realized like, I'm really not special. Like in the sense of eating disorders, like battles, body dysmorphia, like the inner voice and critic, the trauma even, like, it's just like, fuck, man, we all experience it. We all battle it. It's such a great number of us who do. And like, the question is, why? Right. You know? And like, maybe if we could get to the bottom of that through podcasts like this and like through listening and all of that, like, you know, it's just nice to like, it made me ask really interesting questions as I like listened to the episodes you guys create, you know, and one of the things that I love also is like, I'm sure people are here to promote, but that's not what you're doing.
No, we don't care.
You're fucking talking
Sorry.
like life. Exactly. It's like, how can we talk about stuff that matters and like what forms us as humans?
Yeah.
And that's so important.
I think too that like what we do here in these conversations is really important, is that it's no longer about women competing. We are stronger together. we are like the way Rachel and I and you support each other. It's like, and I don't mean this in a like, oh, I'd be nothing without it way. I mean it in a, I would be nothing without it.
Yeah.
Like the way you guys see me and the way I see you and like championing.
Championing.
Still doesn't sound right, but it is right.
Championing.
Champion, like a champion.
We are champion.
But it still doesn't
sound right, but it is. But I think it's something like that.
But we talk about all the time.
We are each other's champion?
Yeah. Yeah.
How do I say that without being
we
like...
are each other's...
We champion each other. Champion?
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we're going to edit out the 5 minutes of
they're going to just play that on loop is what they're going to do.
But yeah, what we always say is like, through this life, you know, there's certain girlfriends, friends, any friends that are your lifeline, your support system, your soulmates. Like, and I always say like, oh, you're brought up to be like, oh, like this man's going to come and he's going to save me and he's going to be my soulmate and da, da, da. And I'm not saying that doesn't happen because it absolutely does and can. But the women in my life in particular that I'm surrounded by are my support system, are my soul mates, soul sisters, lifelines. Fucking, they have saved me so many times in so many ways. And I think just like giving that the credit it's due, that like when you have those amazing women or people that are your friends in your life that fully just are your champions.
Yeah, I don't know that people understand how I hadn't had a lot of female friends in my life. And as I've gotten into my 30s is when I feel like all of these relationships have really started to blossom. And like, I feel like there's a turn, like women just always used to be so against each other. I was heavily bullied, like, and just, I hadn't had many friends, you know, friends period, but especially that were women. And then once you have it, you're like, I mean, yeah, sure, the whole soulmate thing and love and like all of that's great. But if it didn't work out, I would just like live with you two and like never date again and like be totally happy.
Totally happy.
Like once you had like marriage, you're like, I don't want to marry you again if it doesn't work out.
Commune with your girlfriends, like, I mean, and raising the children.
100%. And I'd be totally okay to do that. Right. You know, you don't know how life-giving it is until you have that, you know, until you have a person that you want to send all of the memes about.
Do you think that it's changed due to age? Like, I'm not sure for me, like, I think when I was younger, I used to get jealous or envious or be like, why not me? Or any of those thoughts. And as I've gotten older, I truly feel like with every success one of my friends has, it's a piece of me. I'm like, we're doing it, you know? And it doesn't take away, but it adds. It's like there's little freckles of each other in each other. Little freckles. Those are my freckles on your face. You know, but I'm not sure for me if it was maturity or if it was getting out of alcoholism or...
It might be the cycle of like addiction and like scarcity because with addiction and all of that comes like, there isn't enough for any of us. Like, I need what's mine because if you take what's mine, like I'll have nothing. And then you find out like that's all bullshit essentially. And like the more you share and give, the more you receive and just like, I think it's probably maturity and getting out of darkness too. Like,
sure.
because I'll say like, you know, everything you're describing comes from deep insecurity. Yeah. And I know in those times of addiction and all of that, I was deeply insecure and I never felt like enough. Right. So that all comes with like wounds, also healing and like finding a security within yourself to realize that you shining bright doesn't make me shine less. Right. We just all shine together. Right.
Right.
So I do think it's a maturity thing. But I also think it's different when you find your people.
That's
absolutely
true.
Like, you know, like there isn't a thing I wouldn't do for either of you.
Right.
Like, you know, you were like, I want to tell this story. And I'm like, fuck yes. Okay. Okay. Weekly session. We're going to have a session every week and we're going to write this and I'm going to, and we're going to do it. Like, I don't give a fuck what it is. If you want it, I want it for you. And I'm going to fucking put my powers to make it happen, you know? And it's like,
you mama bear up for each other.
We all mama bear up for each other. We've all done it for each other in this room. And like, I read you an email and you're crying and like I'm crying and like we're both crying because it's just like through my dreams coming true, yours are coming true. And through your dreams coming true, mine are coming. It's like, because what we're not realizing too is like we're perfect examples to each other that dreams come true.
Right.
Yeah.
Each thing that happens for us, each time we get what we're manifesting, we're literally seeing in real time it's fucking possible.
Right.
All we have to do is believe. All we have to do is believe together,
Right. And
Like
there's a power in that.
And it also doesn't feel like, it probably should feel unattainable at times. But like Olivia and I have accepted my Oscar like numerous times.
Yeah.
I have given this speech and we have both cried hysterically as I held the weight of what the Oscar felt like in my hand and we saw it for each other. And she's like, you fucking did it. And I'm like, and I mean, we're both like crying.
Oh my God.
And then I'm like, not only does it feel more attainable and real than it's ever felt for me, but like I know she felt that. And like, I feel that for her.
I feel
like,
it right
we
now.
feel it for
I am there
exactly.
watching
You're like,
you on that fucking
sitting
stage.
in there.
Sitting in the audience watching you on that stage.
Exactly.
Right.
But like, don't you also feel like it's possible? Anything is possible.
Anything
like
is possible.
You have an idea, like the three women in this room are going to make sure that Rachel's fucking movie is made and it's powerful and it's exactly what she always wanted it to be. That is what I want to do on this planet.
My birthday, like my astrological birthday chart, like this woman who's very close to me read it for me. And it was all about like partnerships in business and creating things you haven't done before and like all of it.
Yes.
Yep.
Like what's funny is right now, like
every single day, every single day, speaking it into existence and believing it. And one day you're going to lose faith. One day I'm going to have faith. One day you're going to have faith. I'm going to lose it. Like knowing it's okay to drop it for a minute and have someone there. It was like whatchamacallit in the trenches. Remember the video of,
David Goggins. Basically like your closest people to you, like basically your life is a foxhole and like, which is like you're going into battle with, and you need to be very sacred with who you allow in your foxhole. And like, I have been very adamant about that. And something that became really real for me was boundaries with getting healthy. And I have sick motherfucking boundaries now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm getting them and I'm developing them and I'm really starting to enforce them. And I say no, which is really hard for me. Yeah. I'm a person who wants to say yes to everything, even if it hurts me. Like, this person really hurt my feelings. Now they're asking for this. And I haven't talked to them in 5 years. So it is weird that they're asking me now. And like, and it's just like, there's these things. And I'm like, no, like it doesn't feel right for me. And I'm going to just like, I'm okay with that. Like I have that boundary.
Yeah.
And it's like.
But you also need people in your foxhole that have boundaries themselves.
So, and that was the whole important part is that like your foxhole is only as safe as the people in your foxhole's boundaries and strength is for themselves, right? Yeah. So like, let's say we put 5 friends in the foxhole.
Who's in your foxhole?
You guys, my husband, Robbie, my son. Is it okay to be like, that's it?
Well, I think
that's so fucked up because I know that there's going to be people listening to this that are like, fuck you, I'm in your motherfucking foxhole. But I can love you and you're still living life. Because here's the thing. It's like, that's kind of what is like, there's just certain people with energy. Like if you are not motivated for change, if you cannot do that, I am very sacred because you are your closest 5 friends.
You are what you eat. You are the sum of the 5 total you hang out with. And then
I constantly tell my husband that. And he's like, yeah, but all of our friends. And I was like,
not all of them. No.
We can love them all and they can all be in our life. But who I let in my foxhole is very different. I want to help everybody. I want to be a good friend to everybody. But who I let in my foxhole is very different because I am a giver. And like, I want to make sure that never ending give is also with someone who isn't just a taker, or like, and I don't know if that's okay to say, but I think it is. Like, it's like,
it's okay.
I know, like, look at me, the boundaries, like, is that okay to say that I want people to give? And like, but it's not that. It's more like we need people who give and receive, you know, like who are like so many times, like I am standing firm in abundance and manifesting and all of this. And then I'm like, hey, Olivia, I'm fucking stressed. The strike is stressing me the fuck out. My paycheck that was supposed to cut, like, and she's like, hey, let's talk about it. Like, I don't need someone who's like, I know life is so hard. So I today had that. And I'm like, now we're both in it. Now we're both in it. I do not want to commiserate. I want us to like motivate each other.
Well, that's like what he said. He said, I think I sent you this video too. He talked about, I might have shared it on the podcast, but basically he was like, in your foxhole, you want people that are going to support you. You say you want to go to law school and then you say you want to drop out. He's like, I'm going to show up at your house. I'm going to take you to the library and I'm going to make you go to school because that's something that you wanted to do. He's like,
I'm going to study in the library. I'm going to wait outside to take you home. I'm going to wake up. Like
he said, because there's people that will support you in going to law school and there's people that will support you in quitting law school.
Because there's also
and he's like, I don't want them in my foxhole.
Exactly.
I want the ones that are going to support me when I can't see straight.
That's hard sometimes.
And it's almost not even their fault because sometimes you are, without even knowing it, like that was the other thing he talked about. It's like they're also a little intimidated of like, where will you go in their life once you're a lawyer? You know, like what will it look like then? Well, I mean, it's been pretty great how it is. So maybe you don't have to go to law school. Like maybe you can stay here and never move away. Maybe you cannot go to LA, Nadine. Maybe you can stay in Fresno, you know, and it's like, it's not even their fault, but like, I don't need that in my foxhole. Yeah. Because we all have that. It's like, you know, doesn't make them wrong, but it just, I want the people in my foxhole or like, oh, you feel like there's only been twice in my life. I mean, and it's twice in my life where I really was like, I'm done. And my husband was like, okay, you know, for the day, that's okay. I was packing my bag to move away because I was done pursuing directing and acting. And it was like, I was done. And he was like, okay, well, can we talk about it? Okay, well, pack your bag and then we'll talk. Well, maybe let's leave tomorrow. And then slowly, like once I had calmed down, he's like, so, you know, and then he starts like doing the foxhole shit, you know, being like,
doing the
foxhole shit, being like, yeah, sure. Okay. Well, like I support that and I would love you either way. But, you know, remember when you made continue and like, remember when you said that, and remember when you're like,
That's
no,
what I mean. Like,
I don't remember it.
Sometimes she's like, oh.
Yeah, completely.
Right. But that's what you want. I mean, that's what you need.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's hard because I think sometimes people want to make you happy and it's hard for them to change and they don't necessarily want to do the things it takes to create what you're trying to create. So they'll be like, oh yeah, it might be easier if you start
Yeah,
you know,
let's quit and let's go.
Have you tried sewing? Like, you know, like what would be an easy fix for you instead of being like,
let's get in there and actually
like you got this. Let's figure this out. Like this is going to happen for you. You're going to have times where it's hard, but I'm here to remind you that you want this.
Yeah, every single thing that's like that I've ever done in my life that I'm extremely proud of, everyone told me not to do.
Wow.
Like literally everyone told me not to do. So, you know, who's in your foxhole is really important.
Super important.
You know, don't jump out of high school and move to LA at 16. Like that's not a great move. Probably right about a point there. But at the same time,
look,
if you know that's your calling and like I'm willing to work 3 jobs from 16 until however long, you know, and like that's what people always used to ask me. When is your expiration date? Like, when do you finally pack up and like get a real job, you know, or figure something else out? And when people ask me that, it was like, there is no end date. I'll be a waitress for the rest of my life pursuing this dream that I love because that's what makes me happy. And, you know, when people say like, what is your advice to the next generation? If that isn't your answer, don't do it. Like find something that you feel that way about. But if you can't do anything but
that thing, whatever it is,
you have to do it and you can't listen to anyone else because
it's
that or
say
death.
A lot of things.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like a big sigh after like everything because it's just like I'm really thinking about my foxhole right now. But I like went inside and it's just so important. And the people
She's like,
you
it's so desolate in that foxhole.
I'm like, I'm so alone.
Listen, girl, we could
you're
just be
not
three in a
alone.
foxhole, and we are good. Listen, we're motherfucking fighters.
But that's how, the standards you should hold is like people that you're letting in your life. Like, would you let them in there?
Yeah. Or you can have them on the peripheral too.
Yeah, they could be standing guard.
They can be like around, but
Or
they're
they
not
could be a
around.
foxhole that you like protect behind your foxhole, like where you're like, hey, I got your back too.
Maybe you'll move like
you chillax in
front of
that
the line.
foxhole, your
Yeah.
foxhole, and I'm gonna like defend you and keep you safe, but you're not in my motherfucking foxhole.
You are the guardian of your mind,
Mm.
right? And so you have to be really mindful of who you let into your mind. And so you can have friends and they may be negative or they may be this or that, but the people you come to with certain things, you want to make sure they're congruent with the safety of your mind.
Mm.
And that is something like, you know, we speak in manifestation, empire, positive, like we're really motivating to each other.
Right.
If we were to be, oh, I don't know if anything's going to work.
We do that sometimes.
Not with, no, those are separate issues though.
Oh.
Of course we do it. No, that's,
everyone
of
has
course we
moments.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of 100%. But then the one thing I've noticed about every good relationship, whether it's romantic or friendship, it usually isn't happening at the same time. Have you ever noticed that?
What do you mean?
When she's feeling strong, you're feeling weak,
Yes.
and
Oh,
vice versa. It's like
Yeah.
almost like the universe has your back in the sense of like, when I'm having a moment of
Right.
weakness, you'll be strong. And when
Right.
you're feeling weak,
Yeah.
I am
Right.
there.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
It's usually always balanced.
It's always balanced.
Well, and what like that kind of brings to mind like too, like reps or people or like, right? So like as you're talking, it's like, you know, just for me personally, like looking at two people like you, it's like you shouldn't have anyone that's around you and around your dreams that isn't talking exactly like you guys are.
True.
Because you guys can take over the world. I believe that you two together can do profound things. And if the people in your foxhole aren't saying that, get the fuck out of the foxhole then. And I am Mama Bear. I will fucking gnaw them and take them out of your foxhole, you know? So it's like, and honestly, it's like, this has become something so big to me. And remember, I told you, what the fuck, when you sent me that video, because I had just typed, I was listening to David Gotham's book again, and I had just typed this whole thing up. I could literally show it in my notes in my phone. And it's like, for me, I have a daily, maybe not daily, but like, you know, again, I hate to sound like I'm ragging on my family because I'm not, but my family has this like certain mindset in the way of talking. And when I go around it, I notice that instantly I'm complaining about the coffee. I'm complaining about the food. I'm really feeling like this or that, or, you know, and honestly, like I went back during the pandemic for a little bit of time. And when coming back, I was like, wow, who and how you operate and how you let people talk around you and what it bleeds. And
Oh,
it
it
takes
does.
a long time to get back to ground zero or
Right.
whatever you
Yeah.
want to call it.
Yeah.
To undo that
Oh.
once you've been around it. So it made me like very firm, you know, like there, and I don't want it to sound just like family. I use that as an example because like, you know, it's
of
safe space, but like
course.
friends, anything.
Anything.
You just, I'll be like, you know, my husband will be like, have you talked to him? I'm like, no, I'm being really sacred about my space right now.
Right.
And
Boundaries.
Yeah, boundaries.
Yeah.
Because like,
I
I can't
know
have that right now.
There's people in my life, if I spend time around, like it tweaks my nervous system so gnarly that like to get back and regulate, it takes a lot of time.
Mhm.
I am not well.
Yeah.
You know, but the fact that you're aware of it and you can recognize it and you kind of know what's going on definitely helps. But you also are like, why are you around these
Yeah.
people?
Well, it's also harder with family too because it's so subconscious
Mm.
that your natural default is going to be to just fall into that.
Mhm.
Like even my
Or
mom,
you feel
she's like
wrong. You
Yeah.
feel wrong for like,
being optimistic. They're like, oh,
Right.
she's so annoying.
well, or that. No, but what I was going to say is you feel wrong for like cutting them out or distancing too. Like
Sure.
there's this ingrained guilt, you know,
Right.
like, which is like, shouldn't be a thing, man.
It's hard. My
It's
mom
so
does
hard.
this
So you were like,
stress
oh,
thing,
God.
man. She's like,
I mean,
I cannot. Just this weekend, I was like stressing out because I was leaving to Maine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she's like, how are you doing? I'm like, I'm honestly having a hard time. I've never left my kids for that long with my husband. And so I was like, I'm stressing out about it. And she's like, yeah, I really don't understand why you guys are going halfway across the country.
Right. So
I'm
she
like,
feeds into the
she's
stress.
Like, she's like, oh yeah. And
But
did you think
moms
of
are good at
this?
that.
And I'm just like,
My mom, every time I talk to her on the phone, there's something I like need to do in my life and I have to like face and do. And every time we're on the phone, she's like, well, you have to. I'm like,
I know.
Mom, I'm literally just talking about like picking up Briar from school. You don't need to say this every time I'm on the phone with you.
That's exactly it.
It's just they know how to get in there.
Yeah, they're like, oh, are you packing stress in your bag? I've got more. Let me.
Yeah.
You know? You're like, because if it was one of us saying that to each other, we'd be like, go have fun. The kids are going to be great. Like, you deserve this. But my mom's
Maybe
like,
it's
I
generational.
know.
Yeah, but
And
it
have you
is
checked
because
the
my family can
weather?
also make everything stressful that doesn't need stress.
Right.
Like this weekend, 70th birthday, right? We hired someone to decorate. We hired someone to come and do a taco truck. It's all, I'm like, I'm actually not coming up Saturday. I'm going to come up Friday. Well, good, because there was so much. And I'm like, I'm coming. I should come up Saturday. I don't know. I should come up Saturday. I'm already having a panic attack. What the fuck are we stressing about?
Right.
We already hired. And then mind you, the day it comes and it's all stress. And you're like, what the fuck? Is there no way to avoid this? Like,
I know.
we hire people and yet we're still bringing, like, did you remember to get the stress? Well, we need more of it.
Right.
You know, it's just like, it's making any non-stressful situation stressful. Look at your foot tapping.
I know.
Your foot's tapping already.
I know.
And
I'm like, fuck, I'm thinking about it.
My legs twitching. We're like, I'm stressed just
Fucking
talking
stressed.
about the stress.
We don't use the word stress anymore. We use the word bamboozled.
Bamboozled.
Because we can say this is a really bamboozling situation.
You know what? That made me feel really bamboozled.
And then you smile.
Yeah.
And your body calms down as opposed to I'm stressed. Every time we do that, we're like, I'm stressed.
No, that was bamboozling.
It was a bit, your party at your parents was a very bamboozling experience.
It was. It was bamboozling, which also for me, like going back to family stuff is always bamboozling. Like, you know, I've always been the black sheep. So then just kind of like returning to the scene and you're like, ah, and I'm like, oh, but at the same time, we're going to stress about the decorations.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, bamboozling, but got through it. Look at that.
Hey.
Right? Isn't that amazing? All the things that you get through, however small or big they are, you can look back and be like, I survived that.
However bamboozling they are.
However bamboozling they may be.
Well, also it's just like, it's a little glimpse, like little taste size bites of growth.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
Like every time you talk, like, and you talk about anxiety or like different things, when you talk, like I can just identify with it so deeply on such a deep level. Cause I'm like, yeah, I feel that. I know that. Like my fight or flight is sick. Like, you know, trauma has nurtured it well. And I feel like, honestly, that's what makes me such a good director. I'm like, I've been through worse. I have a great fight or flight, but like, each time that we get through those little situations without feeling a massive amount of anxiety,
right,
without it sticking for an extra
or
day.
just not reacting.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Without having to tell them, like that used to be my thing. I just needed to tell them every time what they were doing wrong and how it makes me feel. And you're like, it doesn't make a fucking difference. It's not going to change. Just shut up and like listen and get through it and then leave.
Right.
You know, it's like, it doesn't you know, you've honestly helped me with a lot of that. And acceptance is the key to most things in our life.
1,000%.
And it is the hardest thing to attain.
Oh, accept and surrender.
Yep. Surrender. Well, especially for control freaks. I don't know if y'all have that, but like I'm a bit of a control freak. So like surrender, letting go.
Oh yeah.
Acceptance.
Yep.
Also understanding that people aren't what you want them to be. They are what they are.
Right. Yep. Right.
And we can't change people.
Nope.
Can we accept them and love them at their level, at what they are?
Not a high, what is it? High involvement, low attachment. Like,
poof.
You've helped me like see that in a totally different way. Also the expectations I put on people.
Expectations. That's another huge one. You can't put expectations.
It's really hard.
It's so
I was just about to say,
hard.
it's really hard though when it's
so
like,
hard.
but I expect you
Right.
to be a father. I expect you to be and to do this
Right.
and to do that. And it's like, but that's your expectations.
yeah.
It's not them. And it's like, and you're setting yourself up for disappointment or for this or for that. Like, can you just enjoy the moments and accept them for who they are in that moment?
Just stay present.
Yeah. And then I think the next
I'm like,
step
I don't know.
is-
Can you?
then the next step is to then turn and give yourself what you're craving from them.
Mm.
Well, that inner child work also, like, I mean, is next level too. It's like, I realized a lot of my problems where I was waiting to be seen by people who will never see me.
That's right.
Ooh.
I have people who see me, who make me cry when they compliment my work because they see me in it. They see my heart, my empathy, my this, my that. So I can see me. I have friends who see me. I don't need the dickhead who doesn't see me to see me. He just won't see me.
Right.
And it's just,
It is
not
what it
everyone is going to be your people.
Right.
Like, that's a hard thing to accept, especially I think like you guys have said 1,000 times on your podcast, I think it's ingrained in women to be liked. We want to have friends and we want to be this and, you know, but the truth is like, you know, I'm not for everyone. I'm like, I crave deep vulnerability.
Yeah.
Like, and if you aren't that, I'm like, it's okay. I'm just going to be quiet and I'm just going to keep it moving. And like, I'm going to wait until I get into conversation with these two and I'm going to like yak because that's just like, I'll talk for days. You know, it's probably 5 hours past how long you were supposed to have me on the show. And it's like, I'll stay here all damn day talking to you guys, you know?
Of course.
That's not going to be for everybody. But it's for our people.
I
know, right?
don't get it. I'm like, how?
Yeah.
But think of that, right? We all have gone through trauma and like have dealt with it and are really aware and emotionally intelligent and all of these different things. Not everyone has the tools in the toolbox to be as open and be as those things, you know? So I've started to realize like that the people who don't like me because I am how I am, maybe it's because they don't have those same tools and or you know, they're just not wired the same. And that's okay. That doesn't make them wrong. It just makes them not my people, you know? And that took a long time to.
That's a hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause like as a filmmaker, there's going to be people who don't like my movies. And that like makes me sad.
Yeah, it
you
makes
know?
me sad too. And I want to
I'm
kill
like, there's
them.
no way.
I know because
That
for
makes
me,
me
my
upset.
art is a part of my
Your
soul.
heart. But even talking about all the choices you make, you're telling everything from the heart. And that's what makes the fucking difference. And that's what makes you a phenomenal filmmaker. You know, it's like the little choices and the thought behind it and everything, but it's all here.
Yeah.
And that's where it comes from.
And certain people don't want to go there.
Right. People
That's not their comfort zone.
avoiders. They avoid all of that. They don't want to feel. They don't want to be vulnerable.
There's also actors who don't want to fuck with that either.
Right.
Who I'm like,
what do you mean?
like
What?
hard to get them to go there.
yeah,
Like actual actors?
Who? No, I'm
like
just
who?
kidding.
I know. I'll never tell
Then
you.
why act?
But I've worked with multiple people who are basically like, there is one person in particular. I'll never tell the name of this person, but they were talking in the makeup and hair chair of my fucking film. Who like my people are my people, bro.
Yeah.
You
Right.
think that my makeup and hair chair is gonna tell me like hair and makeup people are our people. Like you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, of course.
they're the fucking coolest. And they were telling them like, God, I wish the directors would just like stay the fuck out of your way. Like, I'm an actor. I know what I'm doing. I don't need you to direct me. Like, I wish they would just like leave you alone and stay out of your fucking way and realize some people don't need to be directed.
You're like, oh, you're
That's
really
so weird.
insecure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we could do it that way. Also, the only actor who on that movie in particular wouldn't work with the acting coach. Like who I had on set, who was there, you know, just in case, like.
People get so in their ego and
And the acting coach was, by the way, only there for me. But then everyone else started to be like, you know, like.
Hey, if they're free for a minute.
And I'd be like, yo, I'm in this scene with them, but go tell them that if, and like, you know, so I'm giving backstory. And I'm like, yo, go tell them. Because if it's different coming from me when I'm in the scene across from you and I'm telling you something about me, but from a third party, it's like, yo, go tell them that her deepest and so like it became this fun game, and everyone wanted a part of working with my acting coach for a period of time, who was really only there for me to shove me because I couldn't shove myself in scenes, you know?
Of course.
When I was, because I'm in every scene of Continue and stuff. And it's just so funny because it's also the person whose performance was
the weakest,
the worst to cut. So it was the hardest to include. And like, you know, all of those things. And that's not the only person I've experienced that had that attitude. Like, you know, there's a trust that has to be earned, and there's a lot of people who don't. Yeah. And there's a lot of people who don't want that. And you have to just, and like what I pride myself, like what I constantly just try and remind myself is like, all I can be is me. Mm-hmm. And you either accept that and want to be a part of it, or you don't. And that has more to do with you than me.
Right.
And okay, let me figure out then how I can be there for you in your way. Right. And like how I can still support you. It's hard, but they almost always come around my way. unless you're an asshole, and that's okay. Right. Yeah. Everyone has different processes.
Yeah.
And also, this is something I go back to too, is like stallions, like when you're working with fucking stallions, like sometimes you just have to give them some whispers and then like know when to stay the fuck out of their way, because they're like ready to run. You know, like I don't know how else to say it other than like, you know, it's our job as an intuitive person, as a director, to know like, oh, I'm going to stay out of your way because something cool is happening here. Right. Or like, oh, I'm going to whisper something. Fun. It's so fun. Yeah. It makes me like, I'm like, I can't wait to direct both of you. Like I can't wait. You know, it's like, it's addicting. Like to create with collaborators. Yeah. Like that's what I always say too, is like, I crave collaborators.
Me too.
People are like, stay humble. I'm like, I am nothing. I am nothing without a production designer to help me build the sets that I see in my head, without a cinematographer to actually capture the vision that's in my head, without actors to actually bring these characters to life and this story to fruition through my lens and through all of that. Like without them, what am I doing? Like, who am I directing? What am I, you know what I mean? You are only as strong as your collaborators, your sound design, who then puts the audience in the fucking seat, your score, who then makes the emotional feeling. My music is my love language. So it's like, without every person you make a movie with, what is a director? You know, we need collaborators, and collaboration is the funnest fucking part.
Makes me want to play.
I know. This is why I'm like, I can't wait for us to play. That's why I'm just writing films for us all to make films together. You know, like
it's fun.
I mean, I'm like, what can we just take? Like, let's just go.
I know. Camera. You know, you find your people, man. You find your people, and that branches out. Like they always say, the right actor finds the right role. Like you know, when you get a no, it feels disappointing, and you're like, oh, but it could have been. The right person always comes along. And that's how I feel about every person from Desperation Road and every person who's in my life, period. You know, it's just like, I know that they're divinely put there, you know, but even down to like Mel, and what an incredible human being he is, you know, and what a journey he's had, you know, and 16 years sober. And like, the thing is like,
is he really 16 years sober?
Yeah.
Really?
I actually thought it was more than that, but basically since
I remember that whole thing.
He's been sober since. And what a lot of people don't know about Mel, right? So he's saved more lives than I can count. I mean, he is one of like, Robert Downey Jr. talks about how Mel Gibson saved his life. Like so many people within the program. Like my husband was in rehab for heroin and drugs and OD'd and almost died, my husband. And Mel was at his rehab speaking. Like, so was Robert Downey Jr. So were all of these people. So again, these huge stars who have no reason to be there other than to help people. Yeah. So again, it goes back to redemption. Like we are either our greatest mistakes or our greatest acts of kindness. Mm-hmm. And I want to believe that we can be our greatest acts of kindness, because while we all make mistakes, like my entire 20s, like
same seas,
or even down to like, right. So imagine if no one from my family ever trusted or loved or like accepted, because I made that choice of suicide or tried to attempt, or like never accepted me back in to trust, like, or forgive you know, the few times I failed at sobriety before I got it, the 8 years now, you know? So it's like, I look at everybody and I know that we're all brought together for a specific reason, you know, and just being able to talk to Mel and like, you know, to like fist bump. And then like, I'm showing my movie at Lionsgate and I'm talking to all the execs there. And then I say to them, cause they're like, oh yeah, I've seen Continue. And I was like, crazy what sobriety can do for you, huh? And they all, and then like, I saw these two execs, the main two execs there, like light up and they're like, 13 years, 8 years, you know, and we're just like fist bumping. And it's just like, you know, it's, again, things like cancel culture, things like that terrify me because like,
Yeah.
you can change who you completely are. Like you can save lives. Like you can make a mistake and be reborn. Like, and like use your life for a purpose. Like people are not to be thrown away.
That's right.
No.
We couldn't agree
I'm
more.
sorry, it's probably like a random tangent, but it's just like, I don't know. Kind of
everything
came out
you
and
say
I'm
is
like,
important. Every single thing you say is important.
yeah,
It really is.
I do. I feel like we're all led together, to quote Desperation Road, led by what hand, I don't know, but here we are and I ain't letting it go. You know, scary line, but it's true. I mean, something does connect us all and we don't necessarily understand it, but all I have started to do is like accept it and be excited by it. Like it's that change in perspective. I used to be like, why me? Why me? And now I'm like, okay, we'll see why. You know, like,
Right.
I'm sure eventually I'll understand this.
Or not.
Or not. But I definitely learned something from it. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And where can everyone see Desperation Road?
Oh, yeah. So October 6th, it'll be out in theaters, on demand, pay-per-view, everywhere, all at the same time. But we got a lot of screens, so it should be
We're
at
going
theaters.
to the theater.
Yeah,
we
it
are.
should be
Oh
that.
my God, Rachel is going to the theater.
Oh my God, I don't go to
She
the
doesn't go to the movies.
Yes.
You're going to the
Oh my
fucking
God,
movies.
please go. Can we go together?
Yes.
Do you guys want to come with me for the first time, like ever seeing my movie on a theater?
Absolutely.
1,000%.
1,000%. We're
It's
there.
I actually
date.
get like crazy anxiety about it. I'm like,
we're gonna have the best time ever.
We're fucking
I know.
going to
I need
that
my
theater.
Foxhole peeps with me. We're gonna
going.
go.
Oh,
and
no, we're going.
October
We're there.
6th. We need to go watch it for the first time.
October is the best month.
It's the best
I know.
month.
It's
I
going to be
love
pure
that.
magic, and we're going to go together, and we're going to
When's your birthday?
October 28th.
Briar's the 29th.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
I'm like, what's my
Little
daughter's name?
Scorpio.
Scorpio.
Yes.
I know.
Of course.
Yep.
Oh my God.
I know. So soon, all the
what
magic.
a conversation.
What
you
a
guys.
conversation.
We're so excited for the movie. Everyone needs to see it and
Go
continue
to the
when
theaters.
that comes out.
Oh yeah, Continue will be well, hopefully later.
We'll have you back because we're
Yeah,
going
we'll
to be
talk about that more.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, we need that needs to have its own thing.
It
'Cause
needs to
we've
have its
really
own thing.
joined together to like change lives, save lives, and it will
All of
have
it.
its own thing. Yeah, and as soon as we know, I mean, the other thing is if if the strike doesn't end pretty soon here, I could also get an interim agreement too because it doesn't get more indie than Continue.
Yeah.
It does not
Right,
get more
right.
indie.
Yeah.
I mean, we literally like made it on a wish and a dream. So, but yeah, so later this year.
Later
Hopefully we'll
this
have
year,
that
but
one.
we're going to have a whole new introduction on that. And, you know,
And Desperation Road, October 6th.
yes,
Woohoo!
we love you.
I love you.
Mwah.
Thank you.
Let's talk about Desperation Road.
Rob hasn't watched it yet.
Are you going to come with us to see it on October 6th?
When it comes out in theaters?
I wasn't invited, so
I just invited you.
You weren't here.
all right. Sure. When is it?
October 6th.
Let me see.
We're
We're going to
the
go
movies.
to the movies.
I'm actually going to go to a movie theater,
She is. She doesn't
which
do
is
that.
a miracle.
Yeah, I don't have any plans on the 6th.
Awesome. Put it
we
in your
drive
calendar.
back on the 6th. We have a trip.
Yeah, but we can put it in our calendar.
Okay.
I mean, like that's going to do anything. I meant we can make it home at night.
Oh, I was like, yeah, we'll put it in
Put
the
it in our
calendar.
calendar.
I don't go to the movies.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
I'm not like a moviegoer. What?
What do you get when you go to the movies, though?
Like snack wise?
Yeah,
Okay, this is important.
very.
Go ahead, Rob.
You're next.
I just get popcorn and water.
What?
What?
Yeah.
That's
Popcorn.
it. Always
Yeah.
popcorn. What, butter on your popcorn?
Yeah, butter on the popcorn.
Okay.
And water.
Well, I don't eat candy really,
What?
Weird.
and I don't drink soda.
He only eats those mint chocolate thingies from Chicago.
What?
Those mint things.
you
Remember
got.
that you never gave us?
Oh, I don't get those regularly either.
I know, but I'm just saying it's a
The
candy.
mint Meltoys from Fannie Mae.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't get that every time I went to the movies. It also depends if I'm at like Alamo Draft House.
I'm sorry.
What?
Are you in Texas?
No, Alamo Draft House is a movie theater that is in Los Angeles.
It's in LA?
There's
And
one
what
in-
about it?
It's probably some cool, like, indie, rad.
They
have
also
special
serve you food at the.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
So
It's
like,
like a really nice,
I'll get a pretzel from there occasionally,
like a
Mm.
or
soft
like
pretzel.
soft pretzel.
Do you get
mustard
like
or
mustard
cheese?
or cheese or
It
what?
comes with both.
What do
Oh.
you prefer dipping it in?
I do pretty evenly.
Okay. Where is this place? Why do I not know it?
It's downtown LA.
Oh, I don't like going downtown.
No.
There's parking
far.
right there though. There's a
There
parking
is
garage.
parking? Okay.
Validated.
That makes
It's
it
like
a little
$6.
more appealing.
Elevator goes right to the door of the theater.
Okay.
What does Natalie get?
She's well, again, it depends on the theater.
Let's just go classic movie
Classic.
theater.
Classic.
Okay. You're popcorn and water.
She doesn't do soda either.
Mm,
She'll maybe do a chocolate, a junior mints.
Junior mints are good.
I don't love them.
Interesting. What do you get at a movie theater?
Popcorn.
With
I
butter?
don't think I've ever gone to the movies and not gotten popcorn.
I
won't
have
go.
a text chain with people about popcorn.
What is it?
What is it?
It's
What's
just
the
like
debate?
a popcorn club that like
what do
we
you mean?
we send photos when we get popcorn because we all like popcorn.
You
that
like
much.
popcorn. Well, you're from
I like it
Chicago and
too.
they have the famous caramel popcorn cheddar
Yeah, both
popcorn
of these,
mix.
both of the people are. I have one from yesterday
The Chicago mix.
of popcorn.
That's
I
so
love
random.
popcorn.
Can I tell you? Okay, I have a few things about popcorn,
Mhm.
but you didn't say what you ordered. Sorry, go to your order.
It's not important. I get popcorn, a Diet Coke. That's like my party drink. I know I shouldn't drink it. And peanut M&Ms and
Do you put
and
the M&Ms in
Yeah.
the popcorn? You're one of those people.
I am
No.
majorly. Go ahead.
No.
Sorry, I'm not. It's my turn yet.
and then I either get Swedish fish,
Oh,
red
Vines?
vines, or Sour Patch Kids.
Oh,
'Cause
what's
I
your
like
favorite
this-
color, Sour Patch Kid.
Guess.
Well, red's the best, but it's not yours.
No.
It's either the yellow or the orange.
Yeah. It's the orange.
Yeah, who would like the yellow?
I love the yellow.
She
That's
loves
my
yellow.
second.
Starburst, she goes orange,
Yellow and orange. And Elliot too.
He's your
He's
son.
my sandwich. And then Jeff gets Milk Duds.
Those are so hard on your teeth.
Yeah, but I always have to have at least one.
Or just one.
Okay, what do you get?
If I go, which is never, I need popcorn, but I need something sweet to put in the popcorn. My first choice is Raisinets,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
In the popcorn. It's a really good combo.
People love that.
I have a big issue with popcorn in general.
What?
Because I have my wisdom teeth. I get food stuck very easily in my teeth. Popcorn is my biggest enemy.
Oh, no, it's not fun being you.
No, it gets stuck there. And sometimes I'll think like I have an infected tooth or like, you know, and I go to the
do.
dentist and they're like, you just had popcorn stuck in your gums. I'm like,
Have you tried?
"Oh."
Have you tried flossing or?
Yeah.
So do you stay away from it?
I try to avoid popcorn.
That's
But
why
let
you
me
don't
tell
like
you-
going to the movies.
Let me tell you one thing I love.
Popcorn.
Tabasco on popcorn.
With lemon?
I have not done that, but do you want to know where I learned it? I think I've said this before. Poetic Justice, Janet Jackson puts Tabasco on her popcorn.
I've had it and I like it.
It's so
I like
good.
jalopenos in the popcorn.
Oh,
my sister does that.
interesting.
Do you
Mhm.
bring Tabasco to the theater?
I would bring a little Tabasco if I
Little
had it.
Tabasco.
If you went to the theaters.
If I went to the theaters.
I do
love
like
those
the
little
jalapenos
Tabascos.
in it.
That sounds really good.
It's so good. And
It reminds
I
me of
want
like
it now.
junior high nachos.
The best
There
in
was
the
nothing
world.
better with like the shitty cheese sauce
Mhm.
with the fucking jalapenos.
I will say this. One of the biggest fights I got in with one of my best friends.
I know this story.
We got in a fight. Like it was bad. We weren't talking. It was brutal. And then I had a baby. And the way she made it better is that I got a delivery of melted cheese, jalapenos, and the chips to make junior high nachos.
Who did that?
Deanna.
Oh.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, She's right back in my heart forever.
She had slept with Jeff, but that was all it took.
She even sent the trays that they come in.
That is so thoughtful.
Yeah.
See, those are the things, like the ways to someone's heart.
She did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it right there. That's all it would take for me is something
to
like
send
that.
to someone with no context, like that doesn't even care for nacho, like
No,
whatever,
but
like
shows up.
just like
Plastic baseball helmet with it.
yeah.
Oh my God. The best. See, I like
What
going to
drink?
baseball games for snacks. When I get crazy, I order a Coke because for me, that's a party.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's
it's
party
caffeine.
drink.
Yeah. I don't drink alcohol. So I'm like, I'll have a Coke. I would probably get a Coke. Or, now let me tell you, only at AMC Burbank, they had a white cherry icy.
Oh,
That shit was so
Only.
good.
I think that's the only theater
It's the only
that
place
has
in
a
the
white
world.
cherry icy.
No, but I just knew they had it. So I would always get so excited.
I used to do ices at the theater.
Yeah.
my family still does them. Shepherd calls them blue juice.
Oh.
I know. He says I want popcorn and blue juice.
Popcorn and blue. Briar's never been to a movie theater. Have we talked about this?
What?
Yeah, I think that's so weird.
It's so weird. It's
It's
not
so-
on purpose.
Well,
That sounds like
can I take her to a movie?
Yeah, we're going to, but now she has a thing where she wants to go with friends, like a
Yeah.
friend. So it's a thing now.
And you've said no.
No, I said, of course.
What
But it's just
movie?
Never, I don't know. It has to be one that comes out. She also doesn't love watching movies if she doesn't know what's going to happen. She has doesn't want to get scared.
She's one of you.
You know what I've realized though is most kids' movies are
scary.
scary. Why is that?
I don't know.
Why do you think they do that?
What? Can you give some examples?
Every single kid's movie.
I mean,
Like,
like
there's
a
some
parent dies.
Element of like fear
Yeah.
in it. Think of a kid's movie.
So just to
Little
prepare
Mermaid.
them
I mean,
for like life.
there's always an element that's like it's not going to work out and then it works out, or the freaking dad dies, or the mom dies, or the parents are lost at sea, or there's always some sort
know
of like
what's
cryptic, scary, dark
interesting?
message in it.
Yeah. What's interesting is like I feel like Briar isn't as affected like when like a parent dies or like some, but when it's like really like I remember it was like in Kanto and like the girl like breaks the house. She couldn't deal.
Why?
Like because the girl did this and caused this.
Well,
The
she felt
emotion.
bad.
She felt so she had to turn off the movie.
I was here for that.
You were here for
Yeah,
that.
you guys had to go in the other room. It was like
Talk
a thing,
about
and then
it.
we had to come back to
Mhm.
it
Mm-hmm.
because she had a really hard time
Yeah,
with
and I
that,
said, well, let's finish it because I think it's important to see what happens.
which I thought was great. I was glad you guys didn't just dip out
No.
and not come back. I was
No,
glad
yeah.
you were like,
we
let's
followed through
Yeah.
because I wanted her to see that it was going to be okay. Okay.
Okay.
Do we talk about movies every post?
And food.
And food.
Yeah.
We're big on that.
Did you guys watch Good Boy yet?
Can't say that.
Can't say that I did.
All right. Well,
I'll tell you what I did watch on the plane was
What?
Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. That was really good.
Is it new?
with Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, with Rachel McAdams.
It's new?
It's not new.
It's in the last year though.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
It's great. I thought it was super cute and charming.
I've been watching this German show.
Oh my God.
Here we go.
It's called Dear Child. It's on Netflix.
Is it crazy?
It starts, so they're in this bunker, this woman and two kids, and the dad comes in and they all have to hold their hands out and show each side to make sure that they don't have something. And then the mom breaks out because they're trapped in this room clearly
From the dad.
from
Like
the
the
dad
dad
that we don't
put them
know
there.
who the dad is, but he clearly had kidnapped this woman. I think she had the babies there.
Oh, man.
This just sounds.
Then they escape, but you really don't know much. I finished it last night actually too.
His choices are so strange.
It was good. It was solid. There was enough twists and stuff along the way where the kids weren't hers.
Right.
She wasn't actually Lena, which was what they were calling her. She had gotten hit by a car. And that's
Jeez.
when she escaped, like someone called the ambulance and that's how they were out and the little girl was with her. But the boy was still back at the home. So
Dude, I went down a hole on TikTok the other night and I couldn't sleep because I had to watch every single one of these videos of this girl.
from the show.
No, but it sounds like that. It's like this girl who she escaped her house and she was like 18 years old or 17 years
This is
old.
a real
This is
story?
real. Diane Sawyer was like covering it. She escaped her house and she sounded really young. She sounded like almost like a 4-year-old or like an 8-year-old. And she was like, I escaped. Like, you need to send help because my brothers and sisters are chained up.
Mm-hmm.
And they show live footage of going into this house. And it's
were
like
kids chained up?
chained.
What?
Because they would chain them up if they took food. They said that they were stealing food. There was 15 of them. This family had 15 children.
15
and
biological children that they had.
biological children. They kept them in their house, chained them up. They were malnourished, uneducated. It was complete hoarders. They only like let them eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches while they ate like fast food and frozen food. And these kids were literally chained to beds. This was right here in Riverside, California.
What?
Yes.
How did I not hear anything about this?
I think I've heard of this.
You have?
It's so insane though when you watch it because these girls are being interviewed and it's them now like having escaped that.
They're
How
like
long
older
ago was
older
this?
blonde
Not
women,
that long
right?
ago. Yeah, there's
Oh,
like
yeah.
like 30. She's like 30 now, I think. And her sister.
What is like people? Like what?
It's so tragic.
I mean, no, I'm serious. Like, I don't know.
But I'm like, why keep having kids? Why have 15 kids?
Well, I
they
think there's probably some sort of psychological
Oh, you
issue
think?
with the parents.
Yeah, maybe a little
So,
mental illness.
Questioning why with them.
Yeah, I think they're in jail now.
I'd hope so.
I hope so too. But it just literally gutted me. Like these kids were all emaciated and I can't. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought that up. But
Did you watch anything fucked up this week, Rachel?
I'm trying to think. Did I? Fucked up. Dark?
anything? Bueller?
I'm like, have I watched anything? I don't watch anything. It's just whatever Briar has on is what I kind of see, and then that's the end.
You guys
for me.
should start watching Dear Child tonight.
No, thank
with
you.
her.
She's not
I
going
think I
to
watched
see.
a little of The Ultimatum.
I watched all of Ted Lasso and Shrinking finally.
Oh.
That's good times. It's really good times. Did you watch
They're
them both?
wholesome.
They make you feel
Yeah.
so good. You would love them.
I just, the only way I can watch something is if I go on a plane.
Well, that's unrealistic.
And that's not true.
Like that's
Well, I mean, for me, it's just kind of how my world works a little bit.
yeah, but doesn't Briar watch something before bed?
Yeah.
So why can't you put your earphones and watch something before bed too?
Because I'm doing
all the
shit.
things,
I'm
I
cleaning
know.
dinner and
I don't do
getting
that
ready
either.
for school. And yeah,
I don't. do
Yeah, what are
that
you talking
either.
about?
I don't know. Just
Like, I
Well,
should
after she
shit
goes to
too.
bed, put something on.
she's in my bed, man.
Get an iPad.
Yeah, I could.
So what do? Do you go to sleep?
Usually.
You sit on your phone for like 2,
I do
3
look at my
hours.
Yeah.
phone. I don't know about 2-3 hours, but
I've gotten late
For
enough
like what, an
texts.
hour?
like an hour probably. You know, scroll on the phone,
Texting.
text,
Yeah.
whatever. Respond to emails that I didn't get to.
You do not.
Yes, I do.
I'm just kidding.
It's the only
Sometimes.
time I'll just be there and or if I have to like order something, you know.
Or read something. You'll read
You
something.
online shop from bed. That's
Not-
mostly what she's doing.
Not
Oh,
usually.
Yeah, she
at
Online
night.
likes
shopping.
online
Yeah,
shopping.
But I don't do that at bed at night.
Oh, you don't? You do
No,
that like
sometimes
in
if
the
I
day?
wake up
She waits till we're podcasting, and that's when she likes
and then
to
I do it because I get bored. I do it like if I wake up really early in the middle of the night, like at 4 a.m. Sometimes I'll be like, huh. It's
Oh.
weird. Yeah.
Guess I need new shoes.
Yeah. And then I'll return them because it was a very like impulsive, irresponsible.
Do you follow through with returns?
Yes. That's my one thing I've gotten good at. Am I late sometimes and have to call and be like, hey?
Please take
Oh,
this.
really?
Yeah, but I try to follow through. I try to follow through with things. It's hard for me to get everything done, but I try.
Returns are really hard for me.
Yeah.
I end up just keeping it all.
I do that sometimes.
But sometimes that comes in handy. Like
Speaking
I needed
of which,
a
I have
dress
a
for a
pair of
wedding.
shoes for Elliot.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. What did you wind up wearing to the wedding? Pink or green?
Pink.
Yeah, good.
Look at that.
Yes. Yep. You look phenomenal.
That's pink.
It's very bright from over here.
It's very bright. I wanted to get a tattoo when I was in Salem. And I was trying to get everyone else to do it with me, but then we didn't have enough time.
A group one
Yeah. I
to
thought
commemorate the trip.
I thought it would be really cute to get a little witch's broom
No.
in Salem.
No.
Why?
Because you'd have a witch's broom on your arm.
Oh, I love witch's brooms. You don't like witch's brooms?
I like witch's brooms. I don't know that I would tattoo it on my body.
I would.
Is there anything you would tattoo on your
I'm
body?
always trying to get tattoos and no one will let me get them.
A witch's broom. Who was on board?
I was trying to get an ice cream cone this summer in Pittsburgh because I love ice cream.
Mhm.
Of a tattoo? A
Yeah.
tattoo of an ice cream cone?
Yeah. So cute.
So weird.
Just like a little sketch of an ice cream cone.
Okay. But what happened?
Jeff was like, no. I wanted him
Who
to
was
do
on
it with
board
me.
for the witch's broom?
Johnny
Yeah, I could see Johnny being on board.
and Leah was like, I love that. And then no one else. No one else wanted
It sounds like you didn't try that hard. You had like floated the idea briefly and then no one was on board. So it
well, we
just
only had
floated away.
25 minutes left, so it just wasn't going to work. But I would have 100% gone into the tattoo shop and gotten it.
You had 25 minutes left of it
So
being open.
Interesting to me.
Something. Why is that interesting? You don't understand. Like, I'm impulsive. I will, like,
Well, I get that.
Do you have any?
two
Two.
little ones.
And you don't have any.
Mm-mm.
You'll never do it.
I mean, I never say never to things, but it's not something
We need to have some
Present.
sort of like
I could be
bet or
impulsive.
wager or
No,
where
I
the
could be impulsive if we were somewhere when everyone was doing something. I would probably
this,
do it.
this
That
cracker
sounds fun. Let's
this Cracker
do it.
Barrel trip.
I get
Yes.
Cracker Barrel tattoo.
Oh my God. See? Let's do it.
No.
Oh.
You just got to put it somewhere that isn't visible
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
Put it on your fucking foot,
No.
your side.
No. I don't know.
I'm gonna stop naming parts
Do
of
you
your
not?
body now.
Yeah. Do you not like tattoos
No, I like tattoos.
on other people?
Yeah.
Do you like them on girls?
I do.
I do
Like
too.
I think they're cool. I like finger tattoo. Like I like tattoos.
I love all Nadine's tattoos.
I love all
Love
Nadine's
'em.
tattoos. I know. I was looking and I was like, I want to
So
fucking like
cute.
tattoo my fingers.
Yeah.
Like it fucking looks so cool.
Yeah, she's got them like on her neck
Yeah,
and
no,
her
I love it.
fingers and like.
I would do like behind the ear right here or something, or like back here, maybe like something like
Well, it's
that.
hard for you because you act still.
Yeah, you have to get. Listen, I
Yeah.
do factor in like people who do have and they have to come in earlier because they have to cover that tattoos. I'm always like clocking and calculating.
hours.
because
You
I'm
got no
like,
face tattoos for you.
yeah. No, but I'm just like, oh, you got extra time.
That's true.
I think about that.
Yeah, it's something to think about.
I mean, I'm an overthinker. I'm an overthinker and I'm an overshare
And you're indecisive.
and I'm indecisive.
So
All
all
of
these
these
things,
things.
maybe not a good recipe for tattoos.
Right.
What do you mean you're an overshare?
I'm really an oversharer.
How do you figure?
Like I will say anything to anyone about myself personally.
I don't really think
Yeah, I don't-
that's true. What's an example of you oversharing?
What I've done in the past, like you start dating someone and I overshare so much about like other relationships
Exes.
or exes or what I've done or blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That I have learned, you know, within the last, whatever, decate or so. Like
Last
you get older.
relationship. Yeah.
What?
In the last 2 weeks.
In the last?
The last relationship?
Last 10 minutes. That like, I think it's important not to bring in all your
Yes.
past shit into something new.
I agree.
Well, it's not a great look to bash a previous.
I'm not even
partner.
saying bashing
Well, I
partners,
know,
but
I
that is true. And that is, I believe, a red flag when you're dating someone and off the bat,
I do
they're
too.
bashing an ex. You're like, that's interesting. Like in time and you guys get close and they start to share things, of course. But like When they come out the gate and they're bashing an ex, I don't think that's a good look.
I agree. Do you want to know about their ex relationships?
So when I was younger, I was like obsessed with like knowing everything and feeding off of that and whatever.
Was it a turn on? That's what it sounds like.
I don't know if it was a turn on, but I was like obsessed with having to know. And as I've gotten older, I'm like, maybe I don't need that information.
Oh, I don't want it.
Yeah, you're an overthinker too, so maybe that information's not helpful.
Right, because then my mind will go to places does not need to be at all, and they're not even true because your mind will fuck with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually not interested. Like straight up not interested.
I feel like in the beginning of Jeff, though, you needed to know everything.
No, I didn't. I wouldn't want to know a thing.
But in the past, you would say you would have wanted to know.
In the past?
Before Jeff.
No. I don't like to know. I think that it's like a protection mechanism that like it would bother me if I was dating someone and they'd be like, oh, so-and-so used to, I'd be like,
right.
I don't want to know. I don't care. I don't want to know what kind of lip gloss she used to use. Like
that's a random fact.
But that's what like things like I don't want to know.
Yeah.
What about you?
I used to not want to know, but I don't really care too much now.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
You're married a long time. It's different.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do if they start telling you and you don't want to know? What would you do? Listen or say like, I'm not really.
It depends on what the information is, I guess. But I guess I would be like.
I would shush. I would just.
You'd go.
That's enough. Let's not.
I would just be like, I don't want to hear that.
I don't need to see that.
I don't need to see that. But it shows growth and like maturity, I think, to be like, I don't need this information and I don't want to share this information.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's not important anymore.
It has nothing to do. But I've been like thinking about it a lot lately, just like reflecting and being like, it's interesting.
Yeah.
To not carry over, bring things in. I think it's important.
Do you feel like it's been healthier for you in those relationships when you're not hanging on those things?
Yeah, for sure. You can be present and it's just about like the two people and you're not bringing in this other random person into the mix because essentially that's what you're doing.
Yeah. And I think it's a red flag. I've noticed that with people that come in hot with like how they talk about their ex.
And, like,
and I'm just like,
yeah,
that is not
right.
That's not classy. It's not cute. And I don't trust that you wouldn't do that to my friend or, you know.
So I'll keep you guys posted in my future endeavors.
Have you ever been called someone else's name?
No. Have you?
Yep. Sure have.
Walk us through that.
It's happened twice.
It's happened twice?
It's happened twice. It's happened 3 times. It's happened 3 times.
Oh my God.
3 different people, 3 different names.
Was it someone, they just got your name wrong or?
No, they were
it was
calling
an
me
ex?
someone else's name.
Got it.
Yeah. An ex.
During
sex?
Not in a sexual way. One time it was a little sexual.
Can you explain how?
You know?
Explain how it was a little sexual.
I remember, okay, so the first time it happened, the person was drunk and they were like talking about something and they called me their ex's name. And I remember being really upset and like not really having the confidence to like share that really hurt me and upset me. And so I like kind of brushed it off. And I was like, I'm going to pretend that didn't happen because he was drunk and I'm just going to keep going. The second time it happened, the person was drunk. Different person.
Yep.
Same level of drunkenness. And they called me someone's name. And I don't know if it was an ex of theirs or just like a completely different name.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I say it was slightly sexual is because I think we were like making out and he called me a different name. And then I was like, does he
Was
know?
it someone you've known for a while?
Very long time.
What?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the third was Jeff.
I know this one.
Oh, he called you his mom's name?
No, he called me his ex name. We were fighting and he got mad and called me his ex's name, which...
How long into the relationship?
3 months
3
into
months.
the relationship. 3 months.
Do you think it takes about 3 months to like have your first fight? Like, what do you think the time, you know what I mean? the timeline is, like to show all true colors and whatever.
We started fighting really early on. We did.
Yeah.
But I think it was like, yeah, we fought early on, like had kind of a lot of tension early on. I remember we hadn't said I love you yet.
Oh.
And so when he got mad at me, like that was our first fight and it was before I love you. And he was like irritated or upset and he called me his ex's name. And I think through that, he then ended up being like, I love you,
Mm-hmm.
you know? I used to do it all the time though. Because when something would bother
Say
me,
I love you.
no, but like my ex-boyfriend I was with for so long, like so long. So whenever something bothered me, even if a dog was bothering me, I'd be like, stop it, Ollie.
Mm-hmm.
Like just because I was so used to saying
Programmed,
that and programmed. So I did it on accident quite a few times. If someone would like tickle me or fuss with me, I'd be like, stop it, Ollie. You know, and then I'd be like, oh, you're not.
I don't think
You're
I
not.
use people's names enough to do that.
What do you mean?
I'm not like calling Natalie by her first name often enough.
Is it babe?
No, I was just,
What is it?
You?
we're just talking to one another. I don't need to.
You don't. How do you call?
How do
her
you
when
call her from the other room?
I guess I'll say her name in that case, but I'll.
Do you ever say like babe or any nicknamey?
Nothing?
Nat?
No. Nat, maybe.
You say
No.
babe.
All the time, babe.
Yeah.
Or
Babe.
sandwich.
Right. Babe.
Babe City sandwich.
I know.
But babe, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. I don't think I've never
Called
said
anyone the wrong name?
No, unless I do like my pop thing where they go through every name they know until they get to yours.
You,
John, Rick, Mary,
Yeah.
Jan, Carol, until they land on your name.
yeah.
I do that sometimes, but that's not to a partner. And maybe it could be.
And no one's ever called you the wrong name.
Mm-mm.
You know why?
Why?
Because you historically haven't dated a bunch of drunk dudes.
That's probably accurate.
Yeah, that's the common denominator in most of your stories.
I think when you were dating so much and when people should be dating so much, like let's say in their 20s, I was in a relationship all my 20s.
That's why.
Yeah.
They knew who you were.
I would hope so.
She's like, that's because they knew who I was.
No one's ever forgotten mine.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but it's true. You know, you date around, and of course it's bound to happen, I guess.
I mean, these were all people I was dating. I wasn't like, they knew who I was.
They weren't
I
like,
just
weren't,
mean
like,
like you're
random.
out
Bar
and you're
that day.
drinking and you're socializing and you're dating and multiple people. Like lots of people.
You know, I hear what you're saying. And what I'm saying is that,
But you dated when you should have, like, you know,
sure.
dated a bunch of people.
but you dated a
She was
lot of
saying
people.
this.
A lot.
It wasn't a lot.
It was a lot.
my
It was a
number-
lot of people.
My number's lower than all of our friends. I have the lowest number.
What is it?
Lower than yours.
Well, hold
Well,
on.
yeah.
That's,
Just saying.
Shut up.
So maybe I dated around, but my number.
That's not fair because
What's your number, Rob?
You guys aren't saying it. I'm not saying that.
he doesn't know it. Do you know it?
I can figure it out.
Is a high number a turn on or a turn off for you both?
In like a partner, like that you're dating, like, and they say, oh, I've
Yeah.
lost track at 100.
Like would that deter you or is it attractive?
I wouldn't say it's attractive to me.
He's like, get that number up, baby.
Yeah.
Experience.
You?
No, I don't know.
Is it
Well, if
unattractive
it's
or
really
attractive?
low at this day and age, you'd be like, "That's a little weird."
What's low?
Like if a dude is like, I don't know, this is gonna sound so like judgmental, but if a dude's like in his 40s and he's like, I've slept with like 4 women. But it all depends. Like
Yeah, it
maybe
depends on their
he's just-
history.
maybe he's been in like decade relationships. Totally
Right.
respectable.
But if he's single in his 40s and it's only 4,
And he's never been in the long
then
term.
Rachel thinks that's an issue.
No, I don't know. It's not fair for me to say either way. I don't know. A person's a person.
I'm not saying what's right or wrong. I'm saying, what do you find attractive?
Right.
So it sounds like you want more than 4. You hope that number. I mean, I guess the other question is, do you think it's different for women?
Well, there's a definite like fucking double standard for sure.
And do you buy into the double standard? Like,
what do you mean? Explain.
Are you're fine with the guy's number being super high, but would you judge a woman if hers was? If Olivia said hers is 85 and a guy you meet at the bar that you're attracted to says his is 125, do you feel the same way about those two?
Yeah.
Oh,
I would.
Okay.
Sitting here in this
sitting here lying.
Sitting here on the camera.
Lying to you fine people. I remember once I was dating a guy and I was like, well, how many women have you been with? And he was like, well, if I really think of it, I lost count in high school. Like when I ended high school, it was at 100.
That's a lot for high school.
That's fucking insane. And you know what's wrong with me?
You liked it.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
That's what I mean. I
liked it. I'm being completely honest. Like there was something about that I'm like,
Right.
Where the number breaks through at some point and then you become impressed.
It's not that. It's just like, I remember when I first heard Jeff's number, I was like, interesting. And like, I was more comforted by the height of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why.
You didn't expect it.
I didn't expect it to be as high as it was.
I know.
And I liked it.
Yeah, I get that.
Do you?
Yeah. It just shows some kind of confidence thing or something.
So it's something. I don't know
some
what
kind
it
of
is.
Swagger.
And then would you have that same feeling if your girlfriend had a high number?
Well, I'm not attracted to women, so it wouldn't like do anything for me.
But would you be like, good for her? Or would you be like,
I think now my opinion of it has shifted. I think if I'm being completely honest, in the past, I probably would have been like, what's up with her? Like, why is she sleeping around so much? But I do think that that's shifted for me. And I feel like the younger generation, a lot of younger women in my life has helped me shift that.
Right,
and
yeah,
now I'd be like, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
I feel the same exact as you.
Yeah.
That's why when you said, how do I feel? I was like, I'd feel the same.
And I think it's
both
how
way too
people
high.
hold it. Like, are they doing it? Like, are they doing it because they like to do that?
It's their
like,
choice and they want to do it. You're like,
or
fuck
is it
yeah,
a
go for it.
destructive love addiction?
right. Like, where is it coming from? And I think that
I still would be like,
is,
well, it's their prerogative.
Sure. We're not
Well, it
shaming.
is
We're not shaming it, but there could be.
there could be underlying issues. And I think that that's what's most important. But I do think it's unfair that if a guy's number is high, we don't look at that and be like, are there underlying issues? We're just like, yeah, he's got game, you know?
Or it's just assumed there are underlying issues.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, he probably is trying to do something
Right.
by sleeping his way through everything.
Of course. Yeah. But what I'm saying is when I was young, I didn't compute it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think like, oh, he must have issues. I thought like he's got
game.
And you think
game.
That's more cultural evolution has changed versus you just being older and wiser about it?
Oh, no, I think cultural evolution has changed 100%. Yep. And I do think I've learned so much from like young women in my life teaching me those things. Because I used to view it different. I used to think like women should be hard to get. And, you know, I don't think that anymore. I think that women should
feel just as empowered.
Be the sexual beings that they are, and however they want to conduct their life is groovy. But I do think that men look at women differently than women look at men. I still think that that's there.
Yeah.
You know?
I
still think there's stigma there of someone being used or, you know? Because they don't realize that women actually like it.
Do you think it's weird, like dating in your 40s to like even ask someone's number?
Yeah, it does seem a little bit juvenile.
Oh, but I'd be so curious. I just would want to
Yeah,
round.
I feel like you're doing
just give me a roundabout.
You're doing it because you're just curious and want to know these things.
Yeah, like I don't know that I would ask anymore.
Have you asked people?
In the past, of course.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay.
In the past, yeah, for sure. I don't know where I'm sitting today that I would date someone and ask their number.
But would you be curious? Or would you think you could like, you could look at them and eyeball it?
Or you're at a point now where it's not relevant.
It's not relevant, but I'm sure if I wound up like really like dating someone, at some point I'd be like,
do you have any idea how many?
So maybe, you know, but it's not like younger. It's like one of the
That's
first
date
few
question.
dates. Like, how many people have you slept? You know?
Yeah. When you're young.
Different.
Is that like an STD driven question?
Not where it was coming from. No.
That's always a question though. Like when you're, at least when I was younger, of, like, have you ever had anything?
Yeah. That's part of like the
Screening
opening
process.
conversations. Yeah. Screening process.
Well, I was just
Exactly.
wondering if that not being a question anymore is driven by STDs being less prominent or were more of a thing back then.
I think when you're younger, you're just more scared or something of STD. I don't know.
Well, STDs were scarier when we were younger. I mean, are you kidding? Like they've come up with cures. Like people can live with things they couldn't live with when we were young.
Yes.
So
it's a different,
totally.
Yeah, it's a different ball game for sure.
But unfortunately, it doesn't have anything to do with your amount of partners.
No, because
Like,
you
could
can
sleep with one
like
person
one
and get
person
something,
and
or
get
you could sleep with
something,
100
or-
and
yeah,
none.
Exactly. Okay, here's a question.
Okay.
Did you bring lingerie on your weekend away with your husband to Maine? And did you wear it? Because we talked about this.
What? You guys won't talk about anything. And then you want to talk about me and my lingerie.
Did you bring?
I'll talk to you later.
Well, I just thought you might be willing to talk about it.
No.
How do you feel about? Nope, you won't talk about it either.
What?
I don't know. Like I'm always curious, like if guys appreciate that.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Lingerie?
I feel
You
like the majority do, in my experience. Wouldn't you say?
I mean, I think that who's not going to like appreciate it? You know what I mean? But I think
it
it's
might
more
not make a difference to some people.
I think it's more important to other people.
Yeah.
I mean, to some
It's
people
the
than
most
others.
important thing to me.
No,
But is it something that you would go pick out and like buy for Natalie, or do you like it if it's a surprise? Like she surprises you.
That part doesn't really matter to me.
Okay.
If it's a surprise or not. Or
Right. But is it something you would do?
something I would do because she doesn't.
Right.
Like,
But she's down, but she just
she's
won't
down,
go get
but
it.
it's not like she's gonna go buy something and
Right.
do it. So it's like, all right, here's a easy gift idea
Got it.
for me.
For Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Right. Like if Jeff bought you lingerie for Valentine's Day,
That'd be sweet.
you would
He's
like
done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like a gift for them.
Yeah. Oh,
it's a gift
I think
for
that's
you.
a sweet gift.
I think it's a gift for me because I like it.
I
Like,
do too.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think there's certain people that would be like,
Oh no, I would think that was really sweet, and
Yeah.
it's like a way to connect too.
yeah,
And it's like, here's what I like.
it's nice.
Yeah.
It's a nicety.
It's a nicety.
Okay. Should we wrap it up?
That's what she said. Stupid. So stupid.
Oh my
Okay.
God. Okay. Love you guys.
See ya.
Bye.